Well, no, but it started is anytime one of us is calling a shot or something, and we're together, we're like, oh, I think we should go to IHOP. We'll go, do you feel in charge? And the other one has to go, yes. I'm sorry, you do. I'm so sorry.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need, but you deserve, and where all levels of nerd are welcome. Yes, you are.
Hello.
As we come to a close to our 2-year celebration, 3 episodes of our podcast with Nolan's Dark Knight Trilogy, we rise like a fire and break the shackles that restrict us with The Dark Knight Rises.
Woo!
We are here.
Hell yeah.
We are here. I am Josh.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Corey.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Ali.
And this episode is brought to you in part by the Nerd On Nation that is powered by Patreon. If you are new to what Patreon is, it is essentially a exclusive membership service in which you can support your favorite creators like Nerd On. And by supporting us, you help us keep the lights on, to upgrade, to get better at this thing that we do.
To give more to you.
To give more to you.
To get more
exactly.
episodes that no one
better
else hears.
content, more content. But yeah, for as low as $1 to $5 a month, you can get exclusive bonus episodes. You can get a Discord server that is only for patrons that you get to talk to us and other fans.
Early
you
access
get
to
early
merch.
access to merch like this. Discounts, y'all. But yeah, check that out. nerdon.io/Patreon. But this episode is also brought to you in part by our friends over at Comixology, the internet's #1 source for comic books.
Ooh.
Oh, that sounds
And
like
also
it came
Tom's
from a Wheaties
personal
box.
#1 choice for comic books.
Would you also say it's the best place to read comic books?
I think so.
Oh.
Just
Tom
'cause
would.
I read comic books purely on my iPad because my wife is sleeping at night and I can't turn on all the lights. So I got to read on my iPad. It's perfect. But check that out. Comixology. It is nerdon.io/Comixology, leads you to our link. And yeah, a little bit of every purchase goes to supporting Nerd On.
So if you want to read comic books that like this movie's based off, like The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller, or The Long Halloween that The Dark Knight's based off, or Frank Miller's Year One that Batman Begins is based off of.
You can find them on Comixology.
The #1 source for comics.
But yeah, let's get into it. Hey, Tom, explain the next portion of our episode.
So the next portion, if you actually haven't listened to our previous 2 episodes, you may not get the gist, but when it's a completed film, that allows us to
Guess that grump.
What?
I just had to have one more note.
No, I
in
liked
there.
it. It was good.
Yeah.
In charge. If this is the first time you're listening to the show, Guess That Grump is a segment of our show where we guess who's going to have the lowest.
Grump.
Oh, no.
Guess who's going to have the lowest rating out of the group out of 1 out of 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, and the lowest in the group becomes the grump of the episode. Technically now for the week, since this would be the last one recording of the night. A little pull behind the curtain. And we encourage everyone at home to play along, since who you think would have been the grump, and also the number that you had for the episode. Since I always explain and sometimes mess it up, I'm going to let Ollie pick who he thinks will be the grump. And Ollie,
You have the power.
Corey has such a visceral reaction
Corey
to
just
that.
became one of the
I'm
extras
losing
from The
my
Dark
voice a
Knight.
little bit, so it came out a little differently than I
No,
wanted it
you just
to.
became one of the cops from The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Okay, that's not good.
So, Ollie, go ahead.
Ollie.
I'm going to go for The Dark Knight Rises.
That's the one.
That's
For
the movie.
That's
500?
the movie we were talking about.
Alex?
I'm going to go with Caitlin.
That's not good.
That's not
That's
good.
not good.
All right, Caitlin, who do you pick?
I pick. Oh God. I pick Corey.
Corey's just not happy about that.
I pick Josh to go next. Who do you pick?
I thought you were gonna do that in a Bane voice.
No. I used to do that Bane voice.
Just no.
Oh, no. I'm
do it
going to
instead if
pick.
you like.
Gotham.
It's hard because I don't have any suss out.
Like what's in Ollie's pants.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
That's not. No.
No one
He's got a cell phone.
before I pulled down my pants.
No, Ollie.
I'm going to say Caitlin.
2.
Caitlin.
Okay. Did I pick who?
You merely
You didn't
adopted
pick anyone yet.
porn.
What? You have Patreon.
You merely adopted
For
being
the-
bottomless.
Tom, did you go?
I
No.
wasn't born.
I'm going to guess it be Josh.
Cool.
And Patreon
I still have to
chose
guess.
me.
I still have to guess.
All right,
Okay.
patrons. Let's do this.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Your visceral reaction was jarring, so I took that as your pick for some reason.
I pick.
Tim Allen in the house.
I pick. I'm actually gonna go with Tom.
Smart choice.
Wow, smart choice.
So he's pretty smart.
That's my guess.
Oh, damn it.
Well, okay, real quick, Caitlin. How long have we known each other now? All of us? More than a year?
About a year and a half.
So
how long have I been on this podcast? About that long.
So wouldn't you say that that's an educated guess?
Yeah.
So a smart guess?
Mhm.
Okay.
Ooh.
So when I say smart guess. So yeah,
I
now
usually
that
don't
we
worry.
all the tallies are in, we're gonna go to the complete spoiler of that, which is initial reactions and first impressions of the movie. I'm gonna go first, Ollie, because you
Good.
could shut the hell up.
Yeah.
In the past 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Yes,
because he always talks all the time.
yeah, Ollie, could you stop talking?
Stop talking so goddamn
This is
much.
not the Ollie show all the time. You're just always running the show all the time. So you
explaining all the segments.
Yeah, you said that Dark Knight was your ultimate experience watching a film.
Correct.
Even though I watched The Dark Knight several times in one day, The Dark Knight Rises is my ultimate watching experience. And I didn't even watch it in IMAX. The thing is, let me
Oh.
set the stage.
Let's go.
So I was dating this
He
girl.
just rolled it out.
Yeah.
So that maybe it wasn't a good guess.
Smart.
Smart, but
and it
not
feels good. So I was dating this girl. I was like, I'm about to marry this girl. But shout out to my boy Anthony Crespo, who was in the military, and like
Shout out.
he like had a weekend off or something like that. But he was in town, so I hadn't seen him in like years. And like he graduated 2008, and so I haven't seen him since until 2012. And we were both like pumped for this movie. And I got a bunch of my friends, and we went out to the same theater in Natomas, Regency, up in Sacktown. And one of the things that made it one of the best experiences was my boy Rafael Grajeda, who got two babies. They're lovely. And went with all my close friends, and we went to go watch this movie. And it was like a normal, like maybe 7 o'clock showing or something like that. It wasn't even that late. And the theater was packed. People were dressed up as Batman. People were dressed up as Joker.
Oh,
People were
wow.
dressed up. It was cool, right? But it wasn't even a big theater. It wasn't like an IMAX or anything like that. And we sat all the way in the back. So we sat right underneath the projector. And like we're waiting, and like I'm catching up with people I haven't seen in a while. And then like you start hearing people like Batman, Batman. And I was like chanting in a theater. And I was like, this is getting fucking wild. And then Raph had this like dog tag, because we were ROTC boys. He had a dog tag that had a Batman symbol in there.
Nice.
And then he also was one of those boys that like had like always have a knife with him, always have like a flashlight with him or some shit. But he also had a flashlight. And he flashed a light behind the dog tag. And so it illuminated the bat symbol onto the screen before the movie started.
Wow.
And
Smart.
everyone fucking went crazy. It's like that one like GIF or GIF, whatever you want to call it, of like the people at the bar, like whenever they show
Yeah.
epic scenes, like, yeah, like it was
Yeah.
insane. I thought seats were going to get ripped off.
Oh my
And
god.
it was like one of the best moments that I ever like felt, because it was just like so much excitement for one movie. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is going to be insane and amazing. I don't know. I loved it. Watching this film, and then there's so much fan service that happened, and there's so much retconning of what people in the mainstream thought of what Batman, the mythologies were, and then inclusion and like kind of going deeper into a well-established roots that the Batman lore did, as well as what Nolan had established, that I loved. And I remember getting so hyped for it, and I left not disappointed, because the one thing that Christian Bale said. And they obviously talked about how Heath Ledger's death before this point changed the way that they're going to make the film. And their big thing was kind of like, their big mantra was that this is the perfect ending to Bruce Wayne's story. And I was just like, I feel like it was.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely going to be some feels going into this.
Yeah, I cried out of my penis.
I'll go next.
Oh, that's
Wow,
not-
Why?
That's not even an eye.
Sounds
Oh, it's a one-eyed snake, some would say.
That's true.
I once again.
Sorry.
The past 30 seconds.
I regret nothing.
Anyway,
Batman.
that's my experience. No, I went to a midnight IMAX once again, just because I had a great experience doing that for Dark Knight. So I was already, obviously by the second film, I was already hooked on this trilogy and had done my research on Nolan as a director and all that kind of stuff between the two films. So by the time the third film came out, I'm there. I'm day one.
Money's been spent.
Yes. So I went into this obviously knowing Bane from the animated series and from the Schumacher
Batman and Robin.
films, but was hyped on the trailers. Like the trailers were fantastic. That scene where that guy is running across a football field as it like just disintegrates below him and all the football players have fallen through. I know that they're going for broke on this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I had heard the rumors that they had to change it because of Heath Ledger's death and all like that. But what better story to tell than Bane breaking Batman's back and breaking his body? So I went in with pretty high expectations and I left, like Tom, I left very pleased having watched it in IMAX. It's fucking gorgeous. And I was kind of let down to know that some of the people I went with were not stoked on it. And I obviously I've read a lot of reviews, done a lot of research. I watched this movie a bunch. It's one that I still love. I think I understand people's issues with it and where their faults lie, but they're not things that bother me, I guess, in that sense. And I didn't find this to be, I mean, it's hard to compete with the Joker, obviously, or Heath Ledger's Joker. But I think Bane is fucking terrifying. And I love his characterization in this film. And I've said it in the last 2 episodes, and I'll say it again. They treated these characters with a lot of respect and knew what they were doing with them. And there was nothing that wasn't planned out. Making him a tactile genius as far as like warfare goes is brilliant.
Yeah, it's closer to the comics.
Yeah. So all in all, I'm really happy with it. I'm excited to kind of get in the meat and potatoes. I have a lot of questions that maybe you guys can answer on the other side of that. I mean, obviously you've done your research on this as well.
Nope.
So maybe I can get some of those questions answered as to why maybe people don't like it as much. But I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's probably one of the most beautiful films I've seen too.
I will go next.
Very well. It looks very good.
I'll answer that answer, Corey. Josh hates the movie.
No, my first impression was I didn't like the movie as much. I will say that going into it, this is going to be much like what I said with Dark Knight, where I used to have some qualms, but I don't anymore. Now that I've watched it so many times and taken in little details, there's things that I go, okay, I appreciate this differently. I mean, going into it, it was such an interesting kind of emotional roller coaster because you had the passing of Heath, and so you knew that that change was happening. And then you had Tom Hardy, who I love, but being cast in a Batman film, you're like, okay, I'm here for it. I'm here for
Tom Hardy.
I'm here for Tom Hardy. I'm not like skeptical, but I'm like, okay,
We had
I'm here
just
for it.
seen him from Inception, and we were bought into it.
Right.
And then you had Anne Hathaway being cast as Catwoman, and it was kind of like, okay, another casting that I'm like, I like Anne Hathaway, but in this, okay, all right. I'm gonna go along with the journey, and I walked out of it pretty pleased. I had one qualm that it's a stupid qualm, but I'll bring it up later, that I don't have anymore. That I'm like, okay. But now that I have watched it so many times, it is a wonderful film. It's just fantastic start to finish, that I am just like, this is a good film.
Kaylin, this is your first time?
Yeah, today I went to Josh's house today and watched.
Only you by yourself.
Just me.
Broke into his house while they
broke
slept.
in while they were asleep and watched the movie on his TV.
You hung out
Luna.
with my cat. And
Yeah,
3
the
dogs.
cat and dogs.
Surround sound.
Yeah, no
While
one
they
woke
slept.
up.
No.
No, today was the first time I'd seen Dark Knight Rises, and I almost called it a different name because I'm really bad at remembering Batman movie names.
Yeah.
Even wrote it down, almost said it wrong.
What were you going to call it? Dark Knight Returns?
Rinses.
Probably Returns again because
The Dark
Returns is
Knight
next to it.
rinses his hands.
Rinses and repeats.
Yeah.
Dark Knight Rinses.
Dark Knight rinse and repeat. It's really good.
So a lot of the things I'd kind of I'd never seen the movie and I didn't want anyone to like spoil it for me. So anytime people talked about it, I'd be like, no, I haven't seen it. Don't spoil it for me. Because I wanted the time where I finally do see it I want to be in there and have the surprises.
7 years of build up.
7 years of build up. But it kind of worked because I had these like peripheral things that people had talked about of like knowing there's certain elements that are in the movie and then being like, it's going to be you or it's going to be you. And then there's going to be something with you guys. And then it just got a little twisty at the end. And I was like, oh.
Frankie Berna.
Whoops. Didn't know about that.
Could be. Got that wrong.
Yeah, I got that super wrong. Which the moment it happened, I was just like, oh, I'm a fool. Everything was in front of me. But yeah, I liked the movie.
Jesus.
Dope.
Ollie?
For me, obviously going into it, having adored The Dark Knight, huge anticipation for this. It's the final of the trilogy.
The Nolan verse.
The end of the Nolan verse, and I had a great time with it. There's a couple things that I didn't love right off the bat, but it's more directly like plot decisions.
Yeah.
But then we'll talk about this later. But I still had a blast. Like the bat,
Yeah.
The bat.
the bat.
Yeah.
That thing was awesome to watch on screen and sounded amazing.
I think you got the wrong animal. See, I like that
his
one.
entrance.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to our last episode.
I love the entrance of Batman in Rises.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
one of the coolest goddamn entrances ever. And that's him.
All right, kid, you're in for a treat.
That's him using
Yeah.
his EMP tool to.
I felt
Calling to
really
the Dark Knight Returns comic book,
stupid
right?
because
Yeah.
when that happened, I was like, "What's happening? Are the lights going out?
Yeah.
Is everyone okay?"
What else
They,
is
they
Bane
set it
doing?
up. They set it up with him walking the red
rookie
carpet,
shooting the gun.
where he uses his little like
on the cannons.
EMP thing
I
on the
know.
cameras. So they kind of try to set it up,
I should have
Yeah.
known. But then once it happened, I was like, "Oh, you."
and then he
yeah, of
has an
course it's him.
EMP gun.
Yeah.
That
So
gets
it's like,
shot
He's all
immediately.
about EMP weapons. All of a sudden,
The look he gives
Non-lethal.
the rookie cop
that was
for shooting the gun is like, are you
priceless.
But also,
fucking
what does
kidding me?
the vetted cop say? Put that thing away before you hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, going into this, it was a lot of really like just, and that's the thing with this movie is that it just had the highest possible expectations you could possibly have for a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Too high.
yeah,
There
almost
was
too
a
high.
lot of stuff
to where-
going not against it,
Not
but
against
just,
it,
it was
but just
meeting.
But to start the thread of answering your question, which we'll continue to add to throughout this episode, one of them is going in with just
Too
the most
high.
intense
Is that what it was?
expectations going
It's too
into
high. Okay.
Rises, expecting
I must have
not
come in
only
with
expecting
just the right amount of hype.
not only expecting what they got in Dark Knight, but for it to be up the ante.
Right.
The-
Honestly, might have been you going to the movies with people that weren't as hyped on it. That balance
or overhyped.
or
he wasn't
overhyped.
as overhyped. He kind of like tempered his hypeness where other
It
people
met,
had not.
It
And
quenched my thirst. It did not quench
Believe it or
theirs.
not, I
Oh, I
think
see, I
a lot
see, I
of it
see.
has to do with simply the fact of them calling it The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Like just appending the name as opposed to giving it its own name.
Because The
think
Dark
that-
Knight was the first time a Batman movie have ever been called not Batman.
Right.
And so everyone's
there's a lot
thinking,
of
like-
expectation. There's a lot of baggage. If you call, obviously they're in the same trilogy, but if you also call it The Dark Knight, like if they called it The Empire Strikes Back Again,
Yeah.
like you would have
The
certain-
Empire Strikes Back rises.
you would go into it being like, this is going to be as epic and the same as the previous
But it-
one,
and then
but
you
just
get Ewoks.
again and more. And then you get Ewoks.
The,
You're like, oh,
the other part of my experience is that I had no idea what to expect with Bane because I only had kind of a joke. Yeah, I only had that
the Venom, and then when he gets it untouched, he's that like little skinny guy.
yeah, and so I'm like, this can't possibly be the character. So I'm interested to see what this is.
Also, I would say too, not that this is going to sound really weird, but like I remember after I left the theater, my mom, I missed a call from my mom, and it was because she was worried because this night that The Dark Knight Rises
Oh,
came
yeah.
out,
Oh, yeah.
Aurora, Colorado was fell victim to a massive shooting
Shooting.
at a theater, and it was a Dark Knight Rises theater.
Whoa.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the first like big ones that we kind of witnessed, and it was like a dude who, like quote unquote, tried to have the same moniker as the Joker, had like red dyed hair, and was very
Oh.
like
Yeah.
tried to have this come off as like insane kind of thing. And I remember immediately after leaving the theater, like I saw social media, and it was just The Dark Knight, or it was Batman Begins. It was like this color, the orange in the background, and then it's like the one pose where he's like looking down, mournful, and it's like we pray for Colorado.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And like I think that definitely made
It made a huge impact
on the
in
movie
the movie
industry.
Yeah.
Of like people didn't want to go to theaters. People were
We don't
afraid.
have midnight showings anymore.
Yeah, it's the reason they stopped midnight showings.
To be
Wow.
completely transparent, my mom is afraid to go to theaters now
Oh,
because she's
Whoa.
like it's too crazy to think about that you can just get killed.
The
going to
place you
theater.
go to for the
Escape.
ultimate
Escape,
escapism
yeah.
is now all of a sudden not that.
Yeah, and so like that had an interesting vibe in the world. If you're finished with your initial reaction, we can go to the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Try to bring it up
yeah.
Yeah, we all got it.
from that
do it.
downed
Yeah,
area.
I think so.
Bring the show back up. So meat and potatoes of the show, which is going to be our brief synopsis and our production. So I'm going to do the brief synopsis this time because Corey did a great job last time.
Don't talk
All
too
he did
fast.
an amazing
Please.
job before.
Go watch that
And so
episode.
I'm now going to do
What
it.
do you do? What did you
Wow.
ask? Did you tell him to
I
stop?
just
Slow
said,
down.
please
Slow
don't
down.
talk so
Don't
fast.
talk so fast.
So he slowed.
Ah, there wasn't any
down.
information that we needed to hear.
Yeah.
He was just complimenting us.
The
which
information
never
now
happens.
is
It's fine.
yeah, that's fine.
we need to get through as quick as good.
The information now. So brief synopsis. So it ends starts out 8 years after the events of Dark Knight, and we have a flashback of Gordon talking about the Dent Act and how we'll always remember Dent. So we
Is it
know,
8?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
and so we know, which is weird because
It's only 4 years later. The
Well,
movie,
no.
actual movie.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Batman's only been being Batman for 2 years, so he's like,
Yeah.
Anyways, so we know that this whole baggage of like what Dent did and what those events of those nights will play out for those like, years later. We start out with a plane heist. Plane heist ensues. Bane captures a Dr. Pavel, kills Littlefinger, and some dude says,
Yeah, that was weird to see him with that like brown hair.
some dude
Yeah.
says, "Is the fire rising?" He's like, "Yes, the fire rises," and then they fly
Have
away.
we started the fire? The
Fire
fire rises.
rises, and
The fire rises.
yeah, that's good.
Wow.
Lex Lang will be proud of you.
Into a cup.
And we go to this big night, a Dent Day remembering him, and we find out that like
Memorial.
Wayne Manor's been built up. Wayne's a recluse now. 8 years have passed. No one's seen him. Commissioner Gordon and all these other people are like cool, complacent with their peaceful world. You see Gordon wanting to expose the events not, but he doesn't do it. Selena Kyle, who is masquerading as a maid, gets told by Alfred to go deliver food to the East Wing, where the hell it is. And Bruce Wayne finds out that she stole Martha's pearls. Why'd you say that name? And then
Rachel!
and knocks over a decrepit Bruce, hops away, and then kidnaps a councilman. And then a lot of things are going to happen. So
We find out that she wasn't actually stealing the pearls.
she was stealing the fingerprints for Bruce Wayne and she brought the councilman there to protect her because Daggett, who's part of Wayne Industries, is trying to take over Wayne Industries and needs the fingerprints so that they can trade all the Wayne's money, and so that he loses his chair position at Wayne Enterprises. So Daggett takes it. At the same time, we find out that Miranda Tate, who worked with Bruce Wayne to make this fusion reactor, and he quote unquote mothballed the project, aka it was working, then all of a sudden it wasn't working. And then we found out that because of a Dr. Pavel, I heard that name somewhere, said that like nuclear reactors could be weaponized. And then Bruce Wayne like just gave up and didn't do anything. So we also get introduced to Donald Blake, who is talking to Gordon, who's like next to the bat signal. And Donald Blake's like, "What happened 8 years? I don't know what happened." He's like, "I'm also this boy from his Swethens, boys for the," that's what it's called, Swethens or Swethens.
Professor Charles Xavier's School for the Gifted.
Yeah. Okay.
So close, but
Just
not
from this
quite.
like boys shelter, finds out these boys are getting killed and being washed up in the sewers. And when Selena Kyles goes to give these fingerprints, ambush happens, ensues. Donald Blake and Gordon find their way. Gordon finds his way in the sewer, meets Bane, escapes Bane, ends up in the sewer. Donald Blake finds him, and Catwoman got away. Hey. And then
Hey.
He just ran away with a spoon.
and Batman kind of Bruce Wayne gets called into action by Donald Blake because Donald Blake's like, "I see those eyes are my eyes, and my eyes see those eyes." And then he's like, "Okay."
You're fucking
Just like
Batman.
that.
That's
Yeah.
basically the conversation.
And
Yeah, you're
this is
fucking
it.
Batman.
And then so Bruce Wayne's like,
Everybody
"Okay,
knows.
I'm gonna clean up and I'll get this Lambo and go see my boy Gordon in the hospital, and then also see this girl, Selena, get my pearls back, and then I'm gonna talk to this Miranda Tate girl, say like, 'Yo, your party's whack as shit,' and also get kissed by Selena Kyle and walk
A rose?
away, and then
On the
away.
grave.
And then get his Lambo stolen, and then Michael Caine has to pick his ass up. And Bane is kind of just planning things around. You end up finding out he's working with Daggett to take over Wayne Enterprises.
Daggett. Sorry, it's Angry Beavers.
Daggett has been working with Kyle, and Selena Kyle's trying to find this clean slate because she's this robber who needs to fucking have a clean slate and just get the fuck out.
She's not a bad person.
She's not a bad person. She
Just
steals
does bad
everything.
things.
And she gets double crossed. Batman and Catwoman fight off Bane's thugs, and Daggett later dies. And
You feel in charge.
Bruce Wayne loses all control.
favorite
That's
line.
pretty dope. Yeah.
Bruce Wayne loses all
That's
control
upsetting.
of his company. And Miranda Tate now becomes the new CEO of Wayne Enterprises with Lucius Fox still as the president. And Michael Caine leaves him because he's like, what if I told you that Rachel was going to leave your ass, but she didn't? And then he's like, that's fucked up. Leave. And then he leaves. And then in the
It's like that, too.
raininess where he can't get back
It's
home,
uncanny.
Bruce Wayne's like, I'm trying to get in. And Rente's, yo, girl, what's up? Bat that ass up. And then they went inside this house. He's like, bat that ass up. And they bang the bang. And then he finds out,
He's like, you look like Rachel. Who?
I mean,
and she's like,
nothing.
Turn around.
I'll protect your legacy.
Oh my God.
I'll protect
Let me call you Rachel.
Anyway.
I'll protect your legacy. And then he calls up Selena Kyle's like, yo, I need to fight Bane. And let's fight Bane. And then she double crosses him. And then Bane fights him and gets his ass whooped, stomp the curb, all that stuff. And he gets sent to this ancient prison that they've talked about that's legendary.
The pit.
The pits, the Lazarus pits. And then he's like, from this prison, you're gonna watch me take over the Gotham. And then he does. And then he's
It
like,
really is uncanny.
he broke his spine, so he can't move. It's all sad and torturous and that. And Selena Kyle's like, oh my God, I'm in prison. But also, like, Bane's like, I took over Gotham because I have this bomb that Wayne Enterprises had, and that I'm turning now into a nuclear reactor. I'm gonna blow up this football stadium. And also, the only person that could deactivate it is Dad. Snap his neck in front of everybody out here.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Donald Blake is like now Detective Boy, shot his first man. He's like, oh, I don't like guns anymore. Also, I'm gonna pick up the shotgun.
Yeah.
And then he
Do what
runs
you
around.
gotta
He's like,
do, though.
oh God, I gotta get Gordon out of here. Gotta protect him because Bane's trying to try to kill him. And then we find out we go under like winter for 5 months, and Bruce Wayne rehabilitates himself, makes the climb that no one else can climb without a rope, and makes the leap and finds out the
Had to
history.
do without a rope because
Yeah.
he fears death again.
Yeah, and he has to. He ends up learning the history and secrets of Ra's al Ghul, and the child that he had
And
was
Bane.
Bane, and how Bane made the climb, yada yada. And then they go back to Gotham, where all the bridges have been burned off and destroyed. All the police people are underground, and they're kept under rations and stuff by the National Guard, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to stop this bomb because they all know that the bomb's going to go off no matter what, even if without this mysterious trigger person that has this device, this remote that will blow up the fucking city.
The Trigger Man.
Yeah. Batman gets back and he's like, yo, Selena Kyle, find me Lucius. And he goes to Lucius, get me back in the game, boy. And
Game Boy.
he gets him back in the game. He rides the little bat thing. And then
Wow.
and
Wow.
they have this final fight for the heart and soul of Gotham. It's this giant fight on City Hall. Bang, 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 fight. And then beats the shit out of Bane because he has this renewed sense of like purpose and doesn't, want to die and lose and shit like that. Doesn't want to see his city burn. And he finds out,
He also unhooks the thing so Bane can feel pain.
Yeah.
So when he's punching him, he can feel it,
Yeah.
which helps.
And he gives a shotgun to Miranda Tate. It's like, hey, fucking watch the door and all that shit. It's like, you blah blah, give me the trigger. And then she stabs him in the side,
Twists it.
and twists it and says like, I'm the citizen, blah blah. I'm the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. I'm Talia al Ghul, and this is my protected dude. And then she's
We're
like,
in love.
I'm gonna go blow up the spot. And then we didn't know that Gordon actually found a way to block the EMP thing, and so the trigger can't work. And
I
then
love that line. Congratulations, you've bought yourself 11 minutes.
11 minutes.
And you're like, oh, fuck.
And then so she goes to peace out with one of the Batmobiles that's all out there, and Catwoman saves the day, shoots Bane up, and then they're like,
Saves
she has
the
no problem.
cat.
Has no problem
saves
with
the
guns.
bat.
Saves the bat.
She has no problem with guns.
Yeah.
Likes
And-
them, in fact.
And then they now with her in the bat pod and him in the bat, they go fly and try to stop this truck from just driving around and buying time because it's gonna blow up no matter what,
Yeah.
even without the trigger. And so the
'Cause it's
11th
unstable.
at the 11th hour decision, they decide to crash it, and then Batman takes the bat, gets a little kissy with the cat,
Basically
and then
tells Gordon who he is.
yeah, and then flies away where like the children of this boy's
But the autopilots doesn't work though.
of this boy's home is watching Batman fly out to
It's
the bay
uncanny.
With a bomb.
and explodes. And Donald Blake's like, oh shit, maybe the system doesn't work. This all sucks. And then now we start seeing the divvying up of the Wayne estate.
Donald Blake?
Donald Blake.
Oh yeah.
And then we get Donald Blake gets a bag by using his real name, Robin. And then we get that Alfred Pennyworth gets all the estate other than one house, which will be dedicated to the boys' home.
Xavier.
And then
Total
Gifted
difference.
students.
even at this point, though, Bruce Wayne is pretty much broke, so like he doesn't really
Yeah.
have that much
Yeah.
money. And we pretty much assume that Lucius Fox is.
But it
gonna
becomes a basically like a state owned
Yeah.
facility, so they can keep the building.
yeah,
on.
as
Right.
a preserve. But like Lucius Fox will continue having Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah.
And then
Everything goes to Alfred.
Gordon will continue being commissioner. And then we get a premonition that meets its fate, which was alluded to in the very beginning of the film, where Michael Caine's like, I want to go to Italy and have a Fernie Branca and see you just look at me. And then we don't say anything and just smile. And then at the very
We
end, we
know each
get
other,
Donald
okay.
Blake goes into this place that looks exactly like the Lower East Side cave by spelunking.
Yeah.
And then climbs up this thing. And then he rises on this
The Dark Knight
thing.
rises.
The
Rises.
spelunker rises.
Some would say.
Honestly, never even caught that until right now.
And
that's
that is the official synopsis
Yes.
for The Dark Knight
Wow.
Rises.
Because he was like, hey, bat that ass up.
Bat.
Bat dat
Rachel!
ass up.
Back that bat ass up.
Anyway, the production side of things. It was distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. The director was Christopher Nolan. Known for Larceny,
That's Lars.
Tarantella, and Quay.
Key.
Kay. Then the producers were Emma Thomas. It's Christopher Nolan's wife. She's been worked with all of the Christopher Nolan films. Then there's Charles Roven, Batman versus Superman. Suicide
Okay.
Squad, and Get Smart. There's also Jordan Goldberg from The Prestige, Gotham Tonight, and The Skinny. On the writing side of things, this is based on characters created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger. David S. Goyer wrote the story. He's known for The Unborn, Jumper, Death Warrant. Christopher and Jonathan Nolan did the screenplay. And Christian Bale. What? He was a writer?
No.
Oh,
Cast.
sorry.
Cast.
These notes confused me momentarily. Pardon that. For the cast, Christian
It's a
Bale. For Mowgli, Ford versus Ferrari, Exodus, The Fighter, Terminator, Salvation. Then there's Michael Caine, Children of Men, Bewitched, Weatherman, Gary Oldman, Lawless, the Harry Potter series.
There it is.
Air Force One, The Unborn.
Get off my plane.
Tom Hardy, Bronson, Rock'n'Rolla, Mad Max Fury Road, Venom, Locke. Then we have Anne Hathaway from The Princess Diaries, Les Miserables, Havoc, One Day.
Havoc.
Marion
seen that?
Cotillard.
Cotillard.
From Inception, La Vie en Rose. 2 Days, One Night, Midnight in Paris. Morgan Freeman from Bruce and Evan Almighty. Red, Lean on Me, Lucky Number 11.
Red.
Yes. Lucky number 7.
Killian Murphy
Nice pull.
from Watching the Detectives, The Silent City, The Wind That Shakes the Barley.
Wow, deep
So
cuts,
good.
dude.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt from
appreciate that,
Looper, 500 Days of Summer, 50-50, Don John,
Yes.
Angels in the Outfield.
Angels in the
And
Outfield.
then there's
Yes,
also
yes.
Ben Mendelsohn from Captain Marvel, Ready Player One, and Rogue One.
Yo, I work hella hard
I
to try to
know,
like.
dude. Those
yo,
are
I'm
some
gonna put
deep
good
cuts.
ones.
You
I'll
did
put
a
some
good job.
ones in there.
The release date was July 20th of 2012. The runtime is 165 minutes.
You know it.
The budget is $200 million before marketing, and then the gross was $1.085 billion.
Billion dollars. Beat me to it.
Billion.
The Rotten Tomatoes
Little
score from the
pinky.
critics is 87%, and the audience is
Oh.
90.
Well,
Wrong.
yeah.
Did you
I
say
like how
wrong?
it's just
Wrong.
it's an
Wrong.
for 87.90. Still pretty
I
good.
know,
It's still
that's
great,
It's still
but-
really good.
In comparison to the other two.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
Doctor Strange gets to 99% when his first week comes out, then yeah, tell me that's wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I like that movie, but okay.
okay. Also, so cool story. So Corey, what
Yes.
we're watching today, was saying fishy, fishy, muscle, whatever the fuck. it
Yeah.
was saying.
Oh yeah, when they're
Right?
saying the
Um,
thing.
And
mean?
I was like, well, way to go, Corey, make fun of someone's language,
And I
right?
went, yep, I'm an asshole.
But I was mainly upset. You know why?
Why?
So this was like the end all be all movie. This was like the world was fucking turning,
Yeah.
right? And everyone wanted a slice. You could see how many, like, other than the people I listed, there's so many fucking cameos in this film.
Yeah.
Like the Doctor, Aiden Gillen, the
Ton of
Stargate
people.
Atlantis dude that just like throws a grenade and kills a bunch of cops.
Oh, yeah.
There's
that
a
guy.
bunch of fucking people here. The fucking dude who blows up the bridge.
There's a guy from
yeah.
Rescue Me.
Yeah, so
From
there's
Dexter.
there's so many
Dexter.
Matthew Modine from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Right. And there's we now in LA, I get to see the LA castings all the time. So whenever a new movie comes out, you need extras and stuff like that. So I remember the extra call, like this was like a viral marketing tool, the extra call for the football sequence
Yeah.
and then the
right.
end fight. And the
Mm.
end fight was the first scene to be shot
Oh, interesting.
because they
Wow.
knew that required the most amount
I
of
remember the
background.
stills coming out of Don Hardy, Tom Hardy as Bane
Bane.
from
Oh,
that,
intense.
from
yeah.
that shoot. I was like,
Yep.
wow, that
Um,
jacket's fucking dope.
But so why I got all pissy when you were like, making fun of the language. Jonathan Nolan hasn't said what quote unquote language it actually comes from. Apparently it's ancient Moroccan.
Oh.
That's what articles have said. But I submitted my voice to be part of that. So I'm in the movie.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Because
right,
there
'cause you could
was-
submit
that's
your,
fucking
you could
awesome.
Submit
submit
your voice, remember
Yeah.
that?
And then
Like
you
you
can-
recorded it and
Why
you
have you
sent
never
it.
told me
Because
this?
it's a combination of a bunch of
Everyone was
voices.
in it.
I was
Yes.
not.
Well, I mean, the people who were there, the day one
That's
fan.
fucking awesome, dude.
So I was like, yeah, just make fun of it all.
Oh, he's like my
Yeah, 'cause
only
it was totally
contribution.
intentional.
And I was like, 'cause I was part
You
of
should
it.
you should really take that as a personal dig. You meant that
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
personally.
meant
yeah.
it personally.
Yep.
I knew you were
Yeah.
a part of it, and I was
Yeah.
like, let me belittle
Well,
his
in
one
my mind,
part
I
in
was
the
like,
Yeah.
people worked hard for that.
yeah, they did. If
People
you-
like me.
if I make fun of it, it means I like it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's
like,
why you make fun of me so much?
Like,
Yeah.
well, that's why you like, oh, no, that's not good.
I'm not making fun of that.
You just hate it.
I'm not
I
even
hate
smiling a little bit.
I know.
It's not funny.
You hate it. But also, there's a fun thing that I really liked was Tom Hardy was talking about how he auditioned for the role, and Christopher Nolan was really interested in him. He's like, oh, he probably saw me from Bronson, and he's probably how big I got for Inception. And then he's like, no, actually, I just saw you a little bit in Rock and Rolla.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I liked you in there. And he's like, oh, because everyone talks about Tom Hardy and Bronson,
yeah.
and he's like a one-man show.
I am a huge rock and roller fan.
Rock and Rolla is great.
I talk about it all the time. None of my friends besides Tom have really ever seen it. You've seen
I've
it,
seen
yes?
it.
yeah.
Gosh,
Okay.
I love it.
So whenever I talk about it in groups of people, I'm like, has anyone seen Rock and Roller? No, I haven't. I'm like, just like, God damn, you need to see that movie.
I'd say a fair assumption. Josh has watched probably as many movies as we have,
Yeah.
but not anywhere near any anime we have.
No, that's fair.
That's fine.
But it's a great movie. And
Yeah.
Tom Hardy does not look like Tom Hardy in that movie. He's super thin.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's got like Gerard Butler, Teddy Newton, like it's
But now he's known as the buff
Tom
guy.
Wilkinson's in it.
Yeah. Tom Wilkinson, baby.
So
Tom,
good. But yeah.
maybe Toms are great. Tom
Yeah.
Holland, Tom Hanks, Tom Hardy, Tom Wilkinson,
Oh, but there's you though that throws off that equation.
Tom the Devil, like me.
Wow.
But I
Tom
remember
DeLonge from Blink-182.
the way that Tom Hardy got in shape for this was that he one thing that he
Enchiladas.
did, he put a
Alada.
pull-up bar next to his bedroom. So every time he left it or went by it, he had to do 10 pull-ups
Whoa.
every day. And in prepping for it as an actor, you stay home.
I just bought a
sometime.
pull-up bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look like Tom Hardy.
Oh my God. Congrats.
So but obviously he was
Thank you.
eating a shit ton. But the thing is that he
Oh.
went for the dress rehearsal and he was like, I'm feeling buff, I'm feeling good. And he saw Christian Bale and he saw him wearing like a button-up shirt with no undershirt underneath it. And he was like, I could take him on. I could take him on. And then they shot the end scene. And then he's like, I'm ready. I feel good. He's like, they had him covered up. He had sleeves on. And he's like, I'm huge. I'm Bane, right? And he saw Batman come in the suit. And the suit puts on some width on
Oh,
you.
Yeah.
of course.
So he's like, his shoulders were 4 feet long.
But also he was
It's
like,
super
I
intimidating.
felt like I was beating up my childhood hero.
Yeah.
Aw.
But then he said, I loved when Christian Bale came down. He looked at me and he just, and like Tom Hardy had that teary eye. It's like, and then Christian Bale said, oh yeah, I'm Batman. And it's like, oh shit.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it's like, again, it became this world phenomenon thing and
Yeah.
everyone wanted a
Yeah.
piece of the pie. Like, that's like the one thing I loved about this film was like, I remember the fucking hype train for it.
Yeah.
And it was like, again, it's insurmountable. So Anyways,
favorite parts?
favorite parts.
Favorite parts.
I'm just gonna start it right off.
The credits.
The way the title comes up
At the
it's
end.
at the very end, there's this
First
perfect.
time you see
It's
it.
this perfect,
Every-
like the color black, and then there's the white, and then there's the title.
Yeah, it's Helvetica Medium, and it's spaced out
Yeah,
with proper
MS
base.
something.
Every
Anyway.
time one of these movies would end, they would be like, and that's the first time you see the title.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it was
every
fucking
time.
intense.
What other movie
Every
does that?
time.
There's a bunch
Um,
that do nowadays, but yeah.
Anytime
Thanks to
that
Nolan.
Tom Hardy is
Thanks
on,
for undercutting me.
Screen.
anytime Tom Hardy is on screen, he just was fascinating to. It was because his voice was done
Like a ringleader?
in post, but the way that he moved in his
Emotes.
body and the way that because you
I mean,
A
he
lot of
said the
emotion
lines
is-
on the day still.
yes,
Yeah.
I want to put that out there.
but no, I know.
Wait, what?
But the emotions that were because a lot of emotion is expressed with the face,
Yeah.
and having that like that you don't get that, so you have to express with the body.
You're covering
Yeah.
75%
Or your
of
eyes.
his face.
And it's so interesting just the way that it was done. My favorite is just like when he's holding his vest.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Nolan's favorite thing to do is cover up Tom Hardy's face.
Mhm.
What?
He does it in Dunkirk,
He does it in Dunkirk too. He's got a mask on the entire time except for the last couple minutes.
where he gets.
And Nolan has literally went on record to say, "I just like just letting him use his eyes."
like it's pretty amazing what
He's
he could do.
pretty.
He said like I'd love to see what he could do with just one eye.
Yeah.
And I was like, God damn, dude! Like this guy is literally acting out of a bag.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
making him act out of a bag.
I mean, that last scene between him and Miranda and Batman, like
Bammy.
you see it in his eyes. You see like him. I'm just like
So
wow.
much pain.
Like
Yeah.
so much pain and love and like
When she's putting the pieces back together so
Right.
he can feel better.
yeah, just while she's talking about him, like just he's welling up and all that stuff and
in that last scene when Catwoman busts through and shoots him, you feel like I felt bad for him
Mm.
because you learn like
fuck
kind of
no.
what he went through. I was
Well, he
I
also-
did.
Sorry.
Yeah.
he also
I
says
felt
you
bad
have to
for him.
die right now too before he gets hit by this.
Yeah.
Also.
I
She
was-
does? Yeah. She's
I-
like, I'm sorry.
But
The
no,
wor-
Bane's like, well, I have to kill you right now. Like he's
Oh,
not
yeah.
gonna wait for the fire
Right,
to do it.
right.
Imagine the fire.
The way the world got mad at Thanos, I was like that with Ben. Like, you fucking broke my boy. You broke my boy. I was like, no. And I was and all the way it's like, God, fuck. So I was happy about it because I was like, Batman's not gonna kill him. So I was like, how
Yeah.
is he gonna? Oh, okay.
But my favorite part?
Yeah.
You think the darkness is your ally, but you merely adopted the darkness. I was
was born
molded
in
by it,
Born in it.
born to it,
Born in
molded
it.
by it. By the time I saw light, it was nothing. I was a grown man. It was nothing more to me than blinding. I fucked it up.
But you know,
It
you
was-
gave
it
it
was-
your
you-
all.
you really-
gave it your
Can
all,
we-
though.
It was good.
Can we go back
No.
in time?
No.
Please, do
No.
you feel in charge?
no.
I blew it, y'all.
No, but
No, you got it.
I loved that scene because he's like, oh.
That whole fight scene. So
The way
first
that
of
he
all,
growls through
no
blinding.
music through the entire fight.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Christopher
good.
Nolan was inspired by black and white film when he was thinking about that scene.
Mm.
He was like, I wanted to, like, it's non-glorified. Like, whenever Batman fights, you hear music and it's like someone's winning. And this one here, it's just the terrible sound of people fighting.
Mm.
And then you just hear people looking at it, and it's like people who are it's like people are just looking down at it. I have a lot in my head, but that part, and also like when he turns around and then it's like a punch. I was like, God, did he just turn Transformer? What the fuck?
Yeah, I heard
Oh,
that.
yeah. When he like
Spins
through
around
the
and
ground.
Superman punches.
I wonder which would break first.
Your
Your
body.
body.
Oh wait, your spirit,
spirit
or your body.
Yeah.
That's good.
So good.
Sorry everyone if we're fucking up all the quotes, it's because it's late at night. But
It is
secondly,
very late.
but no,
We've
yeah.
been going since 9 a.m. and it's now like 11.
About.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that part where he's like,
Oh my god.
nothing to be but blinding. I was like, oh
Yeah. And turns around and just grabs him.
I was so scared. I was like, oh.
And then smashes his face in.
Oh, my
Jesus
God.
Christ.
But no, that was part of the first teaser. The first teaser of this was you getting this shot from low angle looking up from these like cities. And it's like an alien sucking up the buildings. And it breaks off into becoming the Batman symbol.
Mm.
And then it cuts
Mm.
to Gordon being on the hospital bed. And he says like, we needed you. And then you were gone. And now this darkness comes upon us. And we need you to rise. And then it like cuts. And then it goes into this one shot it's the shot behind Bane walking up the catwalk,
Mhm.
and then Batman is like wet and just like all weathered out. He's like, oh, it's just like, oh my god, he's
Getting
going
ready.
to die.
Yeah.
It's
It's
so good.
such a. You just feel
Terrible.
terrible the whole fight because you're like, Batman's literally. This is the guy I've watched kick everyone's ass for 2 movies now, 2.5 movies,
And he's about to get his ass.
and he's throwing
handed.
everything he's got at
And
this
Bane
guy.
is doing all the no sells.
and it's nothing.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure there's no music, right?
No, there's no music throughout the whole.
All I hear is
scene.
My favorite aspect of the whole film really is watching the struggle of Bruce Wayne and through of going against Bane because his body is broken at the beginning and he's kind of like, he's going through the journey of like
I've seen
like
worse
his
cartilage
knee
in these.
thing.
You
Like
have
his
no card.
oh, that's
Oh,
good.
that's good. Nope, because you have no cartilage.
And just like him getting back into shape, so to speak, and then like
Every time I put him that brace on,
yeah. And
stretches
then
out his knee.
the 2 fights with Bane, even the first one when he gets his ass handed to him, and the second one when he wins, watching him like fight him, he's like, he's like growling into his punches, and
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
Because
He's
nothing's
throwing
working.
Yeah.
He's throwing his whole self into it because
Yeah.
he has nothing.
No,
This
he
is kind of
has
the
to.
last
And-
bit.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy because he's like, it's like, you can't match that ferocity. That's the power of belief.
Oh, yeah,
What are you
when-
going to do? He's like, I'll fight stronger than I ever have. I've always done.
How?
And it's like, oh, and then he can't. You can't just physically beat him. And again,
Because you don't have fear of death.
and that's kind of the, well,
Where's
that's,
your adrenaline?
that's kind of the cool thing is that like Bane, again, so each film, each villain kind of represents this kind of real world thing.
Mm.
And Bane is kind of like the religious extremist.
Mhm.
The power of belief and even how flawed it is, and using an ideology that's not really yours to begin with and weaponizing it. And saying that's the proper way to use it, but taking it to an extreme level is what Bane's all about.
I am the League of Shadows.
And,
I was like,
and
you
okay.
discovered that, and now you're like,
Oh, I didn't just discover this. I've been doing this since 2012.
since Batman Begins, or Batman Dark Knight Rises. But yeah, and so like Batman has nothing to believe in. Like he can't believe in Dent. He doesn't believe in love. He doesn't believe in life after Batman. And so it's like, then he has to find his belief again, his belief system. It's like,
Yeah.
it's favorite part for me. I'm just gonna make sure so it's not just all talky. Favorite part for me. Anything with Catwoman. I
Yeah.
fucking
I agree.
love Anne Hathaway as Catwoman.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone was sleeping on her, talking so much shit. People still talk shit about it. You know what I gotta say?
Understand.
You're welcome.
The
Here
scene in the bar where she starts screaming when the cops get in
So
and then
good.
immediately
Yeah.
switches. And then, like, as soon as she sees Donald Blake outside, she's like, he's bleeding. He's in there.
Yeah.
And then he leaves and he
But-
just goes
Yeah.
around the
But
corner.
Plays it so
also,
well.
he's like, oh, the manufacturer said this safe was uncrackable.
I didn't-
Oops.
Oops.
Oops. The
it's
slow
incredible.
I
transformation.
didn't know it was
I
uncrackable.
was like, damn.
The way
Nobody
that she
told
could-
me it was uncrackable. That's what it was.
when she could turn on a dime
Yeah.
from like
Yeah.
the damsel in distress to the
She's using everything she has to her
Some
potential.
would say seamless.
Some would say a strong female,
Female character. Oh.
But the thing is also, it's like, I don't think in the
Oh.
Nolan trilogy, there's not really like a damsel in distress.
No.
Which is kind of
Mm-mm.
great.
Yeah.
But like her, she's like,
Well, except for Rachel.
well, she became one because
She got
was,
thrown out
she
a
was loved
window.
by 2 people.
But even then, she literally told the Joker, okay, stop. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay.
Because old thugs like you. Anyways, yeah, so her and then the suit looked good, and then they made it functional for her to have ears.
That was my
Yeah.
favorite part.
I'm
And
like-
the heels.
When she
Oh my
pins
god,
his arm
I want
with
those
the heels.
shoes so badly.
The thigh highs.
When she pins his
Yes.
arm up with the heel, with the little blade.
I think it was
Like,
more
ooh.
the blade kind of hidden in your heel kind of thing, right?
Oh,
That's-
well,
all of
I've
it.
always loved thigh-high boots, first of all, with heels. Also,
Shout out to thigh highs.
yes, shout out to thigh-high boots, first off. Second off, those like silver heels that are,
it's like
With
serrated,
a
kind
serrated
of
blade.
something.
yes!
Shout out to thick thighs.
I feel
Save
strongly about thigh-high heeled boots.
with
That's the end of
saws
that
the
talk
heels.
I
for
see
me.
that, I see
Okay,
that.
I'll
I see
stop.
that.
Thigh highs
too.
save lives.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I've quoted it a bunch, but one of my favorite weird flexes that Bane has is
Oh.
when he's like, call the cops, and he puts. I'm gonna do the voice. I don't even care anymore. You can make fun of me all you want.
I'm not making fun of you.
When he just puts
Well, he
his
says, like,
hand on his
he
shoulder.
says, leave us. And he's like,
Yeah.
don't leave. I'm in charge.
Yeah, and then he puts his hand. He just rests his hand on his shoulder very lightly, and he
Yeah.
goes,
Do you feel in charge?
and you're just like, oh, fuck.
That was
Which
a beautiful
he
little
improved.
moment.
And did he really?
Yeah, He improv'd it, and it made I forget the
Yeah.
actor's
Ben
name.
Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn go, oh shit.
Because then the next line is, "I've made you a fortune." He goes, "This gives you power over me." And I was like, "Oh, this guy's
They've been useful
so fucked."
until now.
Yeah,
Ugh.
that's just Dustin. My shout out to Dustin, Tasty D Money.
Oh yeah.
Your best friend?
We just do that all the time when someone's making a
No,
decision.
you don't.
Yes, we do.
You do a different version.
What do we do?
Do you feel in charge? Oh yes, yes.
Oh yeah. Well, no, but it started is anytime one of us is calling a shot or something, and we're together, we're like, oh, I think we should go to IHOP. We'll go, do you feel in charge? And the other one has to go, yes. I'm sorry, you do. I'm so sorry. And you have to like nuzzle their hand. No, I'm sorry, I'm not in charge.
That's you, baby.
That's the rule. That's the game.
So I see Ben
Now I
Mendelsohn do that.
understand.
She's like, holy shit.
Oh, so much is coming to light.
You have to nuzzle. No, I'm sorry.
wow.
I want to see Ben Mendelsohn reach over and kiss him.
Yeah,
on the
no,
palm.
I'm so sorry.
Ollie, favorite
I-
part?
That's what I would do. Shit.
I was going to
Oh.
comment first off.
Well, you already had a favorite part.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's no. I actually did not.
Well,
Did
go
I?
on
for
now. Well, now
Anywho,
it's your
I
now.
was just wanted to add on because that was my favorite part of "Do You Feel in Charge,"
judge.
and I think that in my mind is
He,
like,
snaps his neck in a weird way.
oh yeah, it just like covers up his. He lets him scream first.
Yeah.
Which first of all, I
Or
kind of like that. I'm
he
saying
was
first
still
of all a lot
screaming.
today.
As
He
he
was still
died.
screaming, and then it stopped. He probably snapped
He
his
could
neck or
have
something.
broke his
No,
neck and then
left
kept,
him there.
Yeah, screaming till he died.
Yeah.
Which is
That
what he did.
in my mind is like his Joker moment to prove his dedication to his cause.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like a nice little.
You got to do the cup. You can do it too.
No,
Everyone can do it.
There's agua in mine.
So is there agua in
Oh.
mine.
I want to know how I
Um,
got these scars.
Oh
No.
no.
He does
Um,
have scars.
but go
also
on.
the doctor scene where he's like, that was the most jarring
Where he
scene for me.
Punches the
in a-
vertebrae back into his back.
Not that one.
Oh.
the one about the cartilage and the scarring on the kidney, and like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
laying out how messed
The
up
soft
he
tissue in
is.
his brain.
How like he's
Concussive
just
brain
And to
tissue
see
issues.
his
so
face of like,
but
oh.
that was when
and then immediately
this-
jumps out a window.
this movie made a lot of sense to me because I kind of didn't know. In my mind, Batman was still very immortal.
Mhm.
He was
like-
a rubber human.
He was a rubber human. He could always bounce
no,
back.
no.
Shout out to the Hobbit.
He could always bounce back from whatever happened. He would always get up again. And this was the first time where I viewed Batman as a human. And that was weird, but nice.
Gives
It
a
was-
whole new meaning
it-
to kick bricks.
Well, remember in Dark Knight, and they included, in Dark Knight Rises, they included the cut
Yeah,
Right.
from the dog.
The bites,
It's a big
yeah, the
dog.
bite marks.
So it's like he
It's
still
the
has the
best
scars.
Christian Bale. Like,
Right.
you just
And
kinda-
they
kinda-
didn't just wipe away all of the injuries that I
No.
got. He kept them. And that was the first time I was like,
they also
"Ooh,
grade his hair a
there
little,
are some-
which I like.
Little Mr.
There's
Fantastic.
there's
Yeah.
some stakes in this
Well, when you see
movie.
his back in Dark Knight too, he's got scars all
Oh,
over it and
everywhere.
bruises.
Everywhere.
You want to know one of my
How he got those
favorite
scars?
No.
Oh.
aspect of the entire Dark Knight trilogy? So now I can say it because I've been holding on to this since the begins episode.
Okay.
He gets wounded in the center of gravity and the side, the same exact place in every movie.
Yeah.
Because it's every time he's gotten close to somebody, he gets hurt in the same place.
Oh, no.
So the first time is he got close to Ra's al Ghul and he got hurt, and then he falls down. He goes down the little elevator shaft, and then Alfred checks on him and he sees the bleeding on his right side.
What's in there?
He's just
On
like
that side.
I think the log just fell on him.
Oh, body wise?
Yeah, body wise.
That's probably
Does anybody
isn't that
know?
the liver or kidney?
Yeah, it's the liver.
Liver.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
I just had a physical, and she went, "Your liver,
Yeah.
it's fine."
And then in Dark Knight, he got close to Harvey Dent, and then Harvey Dent's like, point the gun at the ones who made the decision, and he shoots him in the exact same spot.
Oh.
And then Miranda Tate stabs him right there. It's like, it's the slow knife.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is the greatest trilogy of all time.
Looks like the knife was too slow.
like that kind of detailing and then threading it through the whole thing where it's like he does get, and it's like some of the same pains he will continue to live as long as he lets people close in his life. And I love that psychology about that. What they did with the Batman films or the Dark Knight films was that like falling in love with Bruce Wayne is his weakness.
Mm.
And it's like he really doesn't have a weakness. He is incorruptible, and he does work through all of his like boundaries of like trying to do the right thing and like breaking the law and all that stuff. But it's like you hurt his heart, he's done.
Yeah.
And like you and like he's time and time again has had his faith destroyed. And it's like,
that's why it was okay. Ultimate favorite moment of all time. I waited for it because I knew it was coming of all time for this movie.
when he
The
killed
ending.
Liv.
No, God, no.
Talking
I
about
don't
the ending in
give
Paris.
a crap about that. Yeah.
When he has the fizzy
when
lifting drink
Alfred
or whatever it's
is-
called.
What?
Fanny Branca.
When Alfred is sitting there sipping his drink and then he looks over, I was expecting Bruce to be there for sure.
But not
But then
Catwoman.
when Selena was there, I was like,
Yeah.
She got her clean slate.
Hell yeah.
Together they get their clean slate.
they're in love.
Yeah.
So that was like
That is the DCOTP.
obviously.
I was like, I don't know, just anime terms. I don't know. You don't read comic books.
It's fair, but obviously.
Just trying to learn you something.
OTP.
No, I appreciate
OTP.
that.
What does that really mean?
One true pairing.
One true pairing. I would say one the ship. I just know the
Yeah,
ship with a
it's
pairing.
shipping, relationship.
Got it.
Yep. One
That
true.
is the one true.
One true pairing.
The opening plane scene with the practicals. Nolan is fantastic
It's
with
so
openings.
good. I was gonna mention
I
that.
that
just wanna
plane
throw that
thing
out
was scary.
That was
I don't like
So
that.
there was a real
was good.
stuntman,
Yeah.
two stuntmen who actually had to hold onto that rope while the plane cylinder dropped around.
Oh
them.
God, I thought it was. I know.
So they're like dummies.
That last
They're real
shot.
people.
no, I
Yeah,
figured they
it's-
were real, but it was really upsetting. And I was like, God, I hope someone didn't do that for real. And then they did.
It's that last shot with Bane's holding onto Pavel.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
And it's a really well done scene. A lot of the dialogue in it is great. Like Littlefinger, he's fantastic in that scene. I love him. I love that they're using his that tactics, and he says the like
Or maybe they're wondering why you would shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
and I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh, this guy fucks. This
I'm
guy
really glad
knows.
that made that in there because we were saying that during the movie.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
this guy fucks.
He's like, oh man, that the way he has to like leave the guy behind, and when they do the blood transfusion, and someone's pumping the dead guy's chest to get the heart moving so that it'll pull the blood out. It was all
Icky.
really good. No,
Yeah. It
was
you
good,
must one
but
must stay.
icky.
They're expecting one in the crash, brother.
Yeah.
Oh. Have you started the fire?
The fire
Fire
rises.
rises.
Yeah.
Dum, dum.
For me, it's that airplane scene is definitely one of my favorites. But also, I think I mentioned this at some point somewhere.
Crash the plane.
Is
no
just
survivors.
Batman's opening, like his
Oh.
intro
Oh yeah.
You
in
wouldn't.
costume. When did I
Also,
say that last time?
Behind the curtain, all he went was a gem, a sweetheart, and
Yes,
I'll
he
give him
was.
sweet lovins tonight, and got us some food before we started recording.
He did.
and he wouldn't leave until after
Until
that
after
scene.
that
was done.
scene. Yeah.
And then he left as quietly as Batman leaves.
I know. I did
Because
not
I looked
even
back
notice.
and I was like, how long
Oh,
has
he
he
is
not been
gone.
here? And he got back 10 minutes after that. So I was like, he must have been gone for a while. I didn't notice.
Yeah, it was pretty quick for an in and out run.
Yeah.
But that was the scene that I wanted to. That's why I stayed. It was right after that scene.
Yeah, because you're like, I won't leave till half hour in. And I was like, oh, okay, I know what he's waiting for.
yeah, it's actually 45 minutes in,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, I can't miss that.
No,
so I'm
You
sitting.
can't miss that.
Which is a great thing because Batman had retired, and so we don't get to see some Batman action until 45 minutes into the film.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is like-
didn't even think about that.
We get to see some detective work.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like
But you don't see Batman until 40, which is the same as
no,
Batman Begins.
in terms of any other film of like, I quit being a superhero. They're usually a superhero real fucking.
Oh, yeah,
quick
they're back
afterwards.
to it,
So
yeah.
it's like you don't really get to feel that. It feels like inevitable
Even
versus
in
this. it's like-
Spider-Man 2, it's not that long.
no, it's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So they used it, really well. But that was definitely my kind of like
It's the slow knife.
Well, it's also the
Huh?
the music in the scene, which is kind of just the epic like song that they use
Yeah.
while they're revealing Batman. Just works really well.
That fucking
I
piece of shit.
love the you're in for a show.
Yeah.
Just
the
for a
rookie.
show
tonight, and then the night fight was good. I like that too.
The night fight.
Well, I call it the night fight. I don't know why, but it's the sewer fight between him and where he
Hey.
breaks his back.
Oh yeah. That
Ugh.
fight. It's just like,
It's visceral.
yeah.
Painful.
Hold on, backtrack. Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire, he was not Spider-Man for a while. It's Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield, who's only not Spider-Man for 10 minutes. With Tobey
But
Maguire,
it's
it's
not
like
45 minutes.
it's like 30
Is it really?
minutes. Yeah, it's pretty long. Anyways, not the Spider-Man episode. Ooh, next
Next
trilogy.
trilogy.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The Holy Trilogy, as people
um,
call it online.
Really?
No.
No. Ironically, they call it that. This is the Holy Trilogy.
Cinematography is
Yes.
on point with this film. And I say that in a really big aspect. People at home understand what it means to do a low angle and a high angle. when you're shooting a
Show
high
them that. No, I'm just kidding.
when you're shooting a high angle, you're supposed to make the other person look small and weak and powerless.
They shoot Bane from below.
When they shoot from below, they look powerful and towering. They are in control of the scene. Not when they're reading a piece of mail, because that looks stupid. And I don't know why you're trying to make emphasis on this. Oh my God, he got this thing. It's like, just shoot it as a regular thing.
Just
Let his face actually do the actual, let him act.
Yeah.
And they shoot that in the prison.
Yeah.
And when Bane has already broken his back, and you just get a low to high angle, just a basic fundamental structuring of a scene, a shot, reverse shot. And then also when all of Bane's followers are looking at the fight, they're all looking down at Batman. You never see them, like, you never see a shot of Bane and then them. You see a shot of Batman and then them. It's all them looking
The only
down.
time Bane is shot from above is when he's in pain.
Yeah. And it's like, guys.
And Marion Cotillard is giving her monologue.
And it's that kind of like film language. It's like so lost on like a lot of these major blockbuster films. It's like, let's just shoot whatever. It looks cool. But like, you're not saying anything.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that Tom Hardy's only 5'9".
Yeah.
Christian Bale's not tall either, though.
Christian Bale's taller than him, though.
I'm
Yeah.
taller than them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Christian Bale's what?
He's 5'11".
Yeah.
He's
You're not
taller
taller than
than me. No.
But no, like
Right in between.
he's like Downey Jr. where he's got to probably have some platformers or just put him on like a couple Apple boxes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, but they make him look huge.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Like in that scene, like, do you feel in control or whatever?
Do you feel in charge?
He's like, they make it look like
He's like
he
a
is
milk crate above.
towering over him.
Yeah. Well,
like
Ben
the guy
Mendelsohn's
even
not
has to,
tall
like,
either.
this.
No.
Yeah.
Just cast more short people with him.
but also,
No, I'm sorry. Hardy is 5'11". Mendelsohn is 5'9".
Oh,
There
okay.
it is.
So no, you're not taller than Tom Hardy. But you're taller than
Ben Mendelsohn?
than the one
Yay.
scroll.
Mendelsohn.
But like the first shot you see of Bane,
Yeah.
like in the sewer, where his back is just like 8 fucking feet wide.
Oh, when his guys come in, he's like,
Follow
why
him.
are you here? And he's like, well, they were here. No, I was talking to you. And I was like, oh, he's gonna kill them.
Oh.
I liked it. He said,
No one is
search
follow
him,
him.
search him, and then I will kill you afterwards. I
Yeah.
was like, God damn.
And then I just love the follow him. And then he puts the little tracker in him and then shoots him. And you're like, this is a guy who he fucks. This guy fucks.
I knew you were
He
going to
don't mess
autocorrect to
around.
that.
I would say this in a weird question, in a hypothetical. Who do you think would win in a fight? Not like a fist fight, a fight to reign control over Gotham. Joker or Bane?
Ooh.
Joker.
Joker.
I feel like Joker, yeah.
I'd say
Because
Bane.
he's
I
unpredictable.
think it would be a very,
I-
very close fight.
I
Me
think
too.
Bane. Because I think Bane's people could infiltrate Joker's people.
Okay.
But Joker's chaoticness, I feel like would reign supreme
It
because
would
he would have
things.
nothing off the table.
Because
to
I
get
think
to what
he would
needs
have
to get
people
to.
in Bane's.
I would say
quick-
like
I think he would have people in Bane's quicker.
I mean, but
That's why I think it would be a very close
I would
fight
also
because
say-
they both would match.
I would
They
also
would be
say
like, oh, you're going to do that? Well, then.
Bane. Oh, that's a second thing too. Who's lieutenants, right? Because
Yeah.
technically Two-Face was kind of Joker's lieutenant,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but
yeah.
and Scarecrow was kind of.
Yeah.
So it's like, ooh.
I don't know.
who
I
those
still
two,
think it'd be
right?
Joker though, just because like,
Oh, the courtroom scene?
Yeah.
oh yeah, the courtroom
yeah.
scene's
All right,
really
then
good.
it is death.
But
By exile. Fucking petty bitch.
I know.
Keiko death.
But no, I think Joker would ultimately win that fight because Bane has only ever really dealt with sane people.
I mean, I think.
And here's my question. Is
Even if
Bane
he's
actually
dealt
calling
with-
the shots or is Talia?
I mean, it's both. I think they're part and parcel.
Right.
So then it would
I-
be Talia and Bane versus Joker.
I feel like Bane would be too blinded by his resolve for a specific goal, and maybe he wouldn't even care about Joker. And Joker would be like, "Oh, well, fuck you." But I feel like the chaoticness of
I
Joker
think
would
Bane
throw.
would make Joker laugh.
Do you know?
Yeah,
I forget. I don't know.
I could
know.
see that.
I don't know if this is in lore or this is like part of like a thing that fans decided to make since like Heath Ledger obviously had passed by this point.
Yeah.
But like
Mhm.
in Blackgate Prison, they break everyone out.
hmm
And they leave one prisoner there, and that's supposed to be the Joker.
Yeah.
Oh,
I forget if that's like actually in lore of what Nolan created or
I think
like,
Nolan commented on it.
Yeah, because they said no more. They don't want to mention him at all in the
Yeah.
film because they wanted to respect him and his estate. So
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
But then the ideology of like, Bane got everybody out except one dude
Yeah.
because he's like,
Because
I ain't
even
gonna
Bane,
not gonna touch
fuck, I
that.
don't touch
even
that.
Bane's not going to fuck with Joker.
So if anything, yeah, Joker would win. Because if Bane won't even touch him, then that's saying something.
possibly.
I think.
Favorite
Anywho.
characters?
Oh, the courtroom scenes
Oh, I mean,
were really good.
Fucking great.
Also,
I mean,
I was gonna say the exile scene
Is fucking
initially
awesome.
with what is it, Daggett?
No,
Yeah.
that's Daggett's dude.
Daggett's dude.
the guy who works
Oh,
with
yeah,
that guy.
yeah. Anyway,
Something with a B, maybe. I
The
don't
guy who's
remember.
in Pacific Rim.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
having him go out onto the ice
then
and be
just-
like, maybe he's gonna
no, he doesn't make it.
he does not.
But also, I mean, you have Gordon being like, "There's no due process where my jury appears." And he's like, "Oh no, crimes have already been,
This is sentencing.
This is
Yeah.
a sentence. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a sentencing." I was like, "Oh, this is fucking great." And his like kind of fucked up suit, and he's just like
Yeah.
on desks that are stacked on top
and
of each
all
other.
the papers that are like trailing on the sides
It's
of
literally
like
a
useless
caricature. It's a
notes that
cartoon.
he's
Yeah.
never gonna use.
It's such a comic book like
moment.
it's a scene right out of a comic book.
Yeah, for
one
sure.
quick thing before characters.
It's almost Terry Gilliam.
Yeah, it is. I agree with that.
One quick thing before characters. Christian Bale, before I think it was in Batman Begins, and they were talking about like, what do you think about Joel Schumacher and the other films and with Robin and all stuff? And he said, I would never be in a movie with a Robin. And then at The Dark Knight Rises, they don't use, Dick Grayson or Jason Todd or Tim Drake or any of the people who have been named Robin before. So they created this complete new character, which is kind of like an amalgamation of all the other Robins have been. None of them ever been a cop, but one of them did discover his identity, like when they realized his disappearance and stuff like that. Tim Drake, shout out. And one of my favorite parts is
It's John Blake.
John Blake.
Donald Blake is Thor.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was like. Sounds wrong.
Well, he does have a no.
John Blake.
Don Blake. Don John. JGL. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Just want to go on record.
yeah. JGL comes out, and I fucking had a great experience when they said you should use your full name, Robin. I was like, that's how they broke the convention. Like that's how you were able to have a movie with Robin and not be Robin, because he's
Yeah.
been Robin this whole time.
Oh, you're a cute little nerd.
Oh, I fucking
You nerd. Fucking nerd.
I had a half chub by the time I left that
All right.
because it was left over from the full chub I had walking.
Favorite characters?
Favorite characters.
Favorite characters.
So other than
Bane?
Batman and Bane, or other than Batman?
Other than Batman, because
Okay.
Bane could go either way.
Catwoman's thigh-high boots. I mean, Catwoman.
There you go. Catwoman's your favorite?
Yeah,
Mine's
Yeah.
also Catwoman.
she was super cool.
Josh.
Bane.
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 Tom.
I think it's Catwoman. I think it's Catwoman.
Yeah, that's right.
She's kind of base for days for me right now. So
Oh, duh.
base for days.
For me, in this one, I actually liked Blake.
Commissioner Loeb.
I actually really
Blake's a
liked
close second for me.
John Blake.
JGL.
The moment he has with the kids, the scene he has where he's calling him out, but in a way where he's like, "I know you're Batman. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't give a shit. I've
Be
known
Batman, whatever.
He's known for a long time. You know
Also,
what I mean?
he
And
was
he
real,
hasn't
though.
said anything.
also
Yeah.
how he offers him a ride when he loses his Lambo.
Yeah, like he's just a good dude, and like given the new lieutenant shit he's like, "Are you sure you don't want to go after the armed robbers, sir?" Like, you piece of shit. This
Yeah.
guy's helped a lot of people.
No, the
Um,
face that he gets though when he's like, "Can you also tell detail to like get rid of the hotheads?" He's like, "I just did your fucking work."
Yeah, when
bitch.
he brings in, he's like, "No, I like hotheads." So Gordon covers for him.
you work for me now,
Gordon's a good
kid.
guy.
Good guy, Gordon.
Yep.
But it was a close for Bane and Blake. Bane is fascinating to watch, and obviously demands that you. Tom Hardy demands that you watch him when he's on
Yes.
screen
All the time.
But there's just something. It's got a lot of heart that JGL brought to that character. That could have been a really like phoned in character, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Could have been.
And I wanted to see more of him, and I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very much.
Qualms.
Qualms.
Quim,
I have one
quim,
qualm
quim,
and I want to get it
quim.
out of the way
Okay,
Let's do it.
because it's just a.
But this is like that.
It doesn't really bother me anymore because I've come to terms with it.
okay,
It's a mixing decision,
okay.
and it's
Oh.
a character mixing decision. It is
Bane?
Bane's voice,
Oh, yeah.
and the
Yep.
the reason why I say that is it's just it's not the sound of it. It's not the sound of it. It's not the tone. It's not the inflection, the accent. It's not that.
It's the mixing.
It's the mixing of it because it
Yep.
sounds so forward
Yep.
in the mix that it almost sounds separate.
Could you explain what forward means to me? For those who are
that's really hard.
Like me?
It's
How does
just,
my
it
voice sound?
It sounds like it's in the forefront, not coming
yeah,
from
it's
a person.
not it's not
Oh,
with
in a
the
space.
rest of the
It's
film.
not in a space.
It sounds separate.
it's non-diegetic.
Yeah. It
For those
sounds
who
like
don't know what that means,
there's like a background and then there's the voice.
It would be like there's a radio and there's music coming from it versus there's a score playing right now.
or
Yeah.
it could be this.
Oh.
So imagine you're in a room with someone
And
and they're
God
talking.
speaks.
You hear them, right? You hear them in the space. You hear them however
In-
distance it was away
Yeah.
from you. Now imagine you see that person talking, but they're coming in through like an AirPod or a headphone.
Yeah.
That's how it's kind of sounding.
Yeah.
It's not in the space. It's direct
Sometimes-
into the sound source.
Sometimes I'll listen to music and I'll be like, wow, they mix those dialogues really forward. Like they're really present. They're not, it's not mixed in to
The world.
the
Yeah.
world.
You think
And
the
so-
ADR is your ally?
I was born in it.
Molded by it.
And here's the thing: it's the entire film. So it was a decision that was made, and I'm
I can
the
give you-
reason why it bothers me is because there's nothing that can explain it to me logically.
I can venture a guess because I share the exact same qualm with you.
Yay!
We're brothers. Just two brothers.
We're brothers.
Two
brothers.
brothers. Just two
So
brothers.
I don't know if anybody else got the opportunity to go see the preview for this movie, which was the first 6 minutes.
It's the plane heist.
There's
No.
a plane heist. It was. I
What
don't
was it for? It
know
was
what
before
movie.
something.
I want to say Mission Impossible, but I feel like I'm wrong in some way, but I don't even remember which
Wrong.
one. But either way, while you look that up, Tom, the first 6 minutes of the movie was the plane heist,
Mhm.
and that's what they played. That's what they played. That was the
Yeah.
6 minutes preview. The Bane's voice was not what you saw in theatrical release. It was
Interesting.
different. It
Really?
was
Yeah, they actually
deeper, and it was harder to understand.
You can actually still find that online.
You can still find it online. I 100% preferred that voice because
Well,
they
it was
said that-
different.
If I may explain, because I've researched out of it.
Fuck out of it.
They they did it originally and they fucked up his voice more, like kind of distorted,
Mhm.
and they were like, you can't understand what he's saying.
So they had him
They had him
Redo
redo it, and it's like
But there
maybe
was
that was
because I think the issue was it being a plane scene in the first place. The fact that it was a plane scene and the door is open and you can tell that regular people were struggling,
Yeah.
were like yelling, and then he was doing it also, but he also has a mask in front of his face
yeah
that blocks it, so it makes it even harder for him to understand. Not only do you have to deal with the plane noises, you also
Yeah.
have to deal with having a hard time hearing him through his own mask
yeah
and him speaking more calmly than everybody else as well. So
Yeah.
you got all these things going against you. I'll admit, I actually did not understand what he said in theaters for that 6 minute preview.
oh
I did not understand.
But you preferred it.
I preferred it.
You prefer the tone, not
I understood
understanding
the
it.
first line.
yeah
And then like while he was talking more in it, I lost what he was saying.
I'm gonna look it up. But
I know the movie.
But this was
Well,
just in that theater. Like
what's the movie?
if I listen to it now, it'd probably be okay because I know the lines. But
the movie is Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol.
there we go.
Oh,
I
there
knew
you
it was
go.
Mission Impossible.
I actually had a hard time understanding him in this movie
In
in a
this movie.
couple of
Interesting.
parts. There were a couple of those
He's only in this movie.
super all right.
Not the
There were a
preview.
couple of quotable moments that I caught, but sometimes when there was dialogue happening between characters, like him
Yeah.
and who on earth was he talking to? I can't
Dang
remember
it.
now.
Ben
Either way,
Mendelsohn.
there were a couple of moments where I was like, "What the fuck did he just say?" And I didn't want to be like, "What
His
did he
name's
say?"
Batman.
and maybe it was a decision like, oh, he's such a present force in
We
this
just have to
film,
make it easy
and
to
we've got to
understand.
put so we're making the design choice, mixing choice to have that.
Well, and it kind of didn't matter because
Guys.
Like-
I
Yes,
think you're
go
all taking
ahead.
it too much.
Mhm.
He got a lot. Dark Knight got a lot of flack for Christian Bale's voice, so they was like, "Hey, man,
They were playing it
You
safe.
got a
hold
real-
my beer.
you got a real good voice out here. We gotta give you a shitty voice. You know, make this bad voice look even better."
No, it was
Yeah.
it was
yeah,
it was
that's-
them. It was them
I buy
playing it
that.
I
safe.
can't argue that logic.
yeah,
It was them playing it
your
safe.
logic is sound, sir.
But you
Next.
notice it. You notice the most in the plane scene because that's where it's most.
should be
there's
the-
most
yeah.
disparity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I don't know. I will say that even though it is a qualm, it also didn't bother me because I still knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah, over the years, it's gotten to a place like when I first saw the film, that was one of the things that I walked out going, "What the actual? They did that? That was a decision that they made? Like, no,
Way to keep it PG.
it just sounds like it was an accident.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, is it supposed to sound separate?
Did they
But
do
over
a
the-
whoopsie voice?
Yeah,
you know what is an accident? Heist
heist.
is spelled with an E before the I and
Mm.
not the other way around, like in the newspaper that Bruce Wayne finds.
Mm.
Also an accident is the way Bruce Wayne holds his cane when he's talking to Lucius. Is it like this or is it like this? Is it like this when you're looking at
Oh, is
him?
it continuity?
And is it like this when it's on Lucius? It's continuity.
Yeah.
So again, I got
For those
Fucking
audio
nice.
listeners, he's just moving his hand in different positions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so his hands on top of the cane when you're looking at Bruce Wayne, and then when you're shooting at Lucius Fox, his hand is below the handle of the cane.
It's so funny. Normally,
that-
I'm the one to notice the tiny things, and this time
Like
I
a
was
No,
mole?
just
because
like,
I noticed the
"Batman!"
real things, Caitlin, not moles on people's faces.
That
or
was
their
on the
necks.
back of his. It was on the
So-
right hand
So
side.
even
Okay.
something I may
My
not even supposed to
qualm.
look at.
And you know what? Just
Is-
because of that, I had a mole removed from my face.
I noticed.
So thanks.
Way to go, Caitlin.
No.
Way to go.
Caitlin.
Way to go.
In
Caitlin.
case it was a zit, I didn't want to.
Quams.
My qualm is the caravan with the bomb or fake bomb.
You really don't
caravans.
like caravans.
Oh
huh?
yeah, they kept moving around.
Well, no, it's, I
Plot-wise
don't,
or
I
just
don't
the
care
design?
why they keep moving
Mobile.
around. How come they're allowed to mark and track them and touch
No
them?
one-
And no, why is there
no
not a
one
car
messes
also
out.
following the bomb cart? It was so easy for them to just run out and be like,
Biggest
I'm gonna
plot.
tag this thing, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
mark this thing, or I'm gonna. It just
I
seemed very low guarded for the one thing that's keeping everyone.
I think
the
in
island.
in the Ollie one line of dialogue will get rid of it. Like I think they said like we've tracked the routes that they have and
Yeah.
they know how to
Well,
do that.
I don't care.
But the
They
detail.
can know where they're
but
going.
having a security detail.
But yeah, a security detail behind it so that they can't just, they kept like running behind it and jumping on it and climbing on it. And it
Yeah.
just felt like there was very low security for the thing.
Wait,
that,
the one or the ones before that?
all of them.
All the trucks,
Because I'll say
yeah.
the one at the end, I was like, well, they did take care of all of the
Like
fucking
Gordon can
Batmobiles.
just jump on into the bomb and throw that thing on it.
Like I
But
bet
it
the
could be
drivers
a
don't
thing
know.
where it's
Even though
like-
there's a Batmobile in front of it.
But it
Does that make sense?
It could be their
No, I totally
confidence
get it.
that they killed the only guy that could stop it. So what are you gonna do?
Well, I think also
Why would they have the one then?
I
if
think-
they're that
What do you
confident?
mean?
They have a Batmobile with it as security
this is
the
before
whole time.
Well, I mean,
at the
they're-
very least,
They're
it should
very
be
show
behind
of
it.
force anyhow. So I don't know. It made sense.
The
to
logic
me
is
of
if
them
you're
being
gonna
like,
have this plan that hinges on one truck,
Mhm.
maybe
protect the truck.
protect the truck.
I would
That's
say
why I
this,
had the
quote
big
unquote.
gun
I would say this.
driving
That's a
car.
couple
They
armed
have one in
guards.
front, but
How about
Gordon can hop in the back. He can hop on it and
I-
climb in there.
I
and
would say
stop the
this,
bomb.
though.
Fair
If
point.
you highly detail security detail the one, it's kind of like a
Or
red
all,
flag.
no, do
right?
all of them. I'm saying do all of them.
But I
You're
don't
missing
know-
my point.
No, I'm saying I'm just like arguing the point where it's like if you well yeah it's like how much do you guard one versus like how much tumbler fuel do they have?
Yeah,
So I'm like I don't know that, and so I'm like if that's in
Bring
the
us
whole,
fuel
or do something, or have. They're not going very fast.
It runs
they
on
can,
diesel,
They can
by the way.
like run up on it. Like have some people walk behind it
Josh, not
and watch out
90s.
so no one's fucking with
electric.
it. No one's shooting the tires out.
They're not
No
going
one's
fast. Yeah.
like have like 3 people
Well,
walk.
I was
behind
just
it.
saying, have 2 armed guards inside
Sure,
the
great.
cab.
Or have 2 armed guards sit on the fucking top of it. I don't know. Like anything more that could stop people
Because-
from marking them and throwing things
It's because
in.
plot.
So a logic gap. Okay.
A logic gap. That was
Yeah.
the one thing. I was like, how are they able to do this much work and go unnoticed on the 3 or 4 trucks that are going through Gotham? It doesn't take anything away, but I'm like, man, they really, like she's sitting there going like this with a big old radiator measurement, just being like, meh, that's the
Oh
one.
yeah, I did remember
That's
that
the
moment
one,
where
guys.
she turns and I'm
well,
like,
she was a double
does
agent.
no one notice
Yeah, but-
that in the
Yeah.
rearview mirror?
She's got this
Still.
like
Giant
she's not a
old
very big
hello
person, and she's
No.
just like,
Which I think
let
is
me take out my
it's the
cell
same-
phone
Cell
from
phone. There we
1991.
go.
It's the same radiation detector that Batman has in Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I
I
also,
thought you said that's your only qualm, Corey.
I didn't say it's my own qualm.
Oh, you might have.
I did not.
gonna-
because I've had 2 written here since
gonna-
the
No, he
beginning.
said you might have.
No.
He wasn't listening.
For me, I didn't like the Robin thing.
Uh,
I don't like
Uh,
that.
It felt
Why?
very like,
Yeah.
Without real
I
payoff.
see how
We
that
did
would
it.
be obnoxious.
I
I mean,
and I don't hate it, but to me, I would have the way they did it. I didn't like. You should really use your real name. I like it, Robin. I would have wanted. It just felt very forced. I wanted something. I guess something a little more organic would have been.
Nice.
I don't know.
my example versus example thing, and no one ever wins with that, is it has a long Wayne Enterprises designation, but I like to call it the Bat.
Yeah,
It's the same kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Except
I would say
for me it was because he is Batman and it is the bat. But like this one, it was like he's not Robin, but we're still gonna call him Robin.
Well, to me, it's kind of like I wonder what the fuck I'm gonna call it.
yeah,
Well, it's like that.
Well, it's like
they
think
already
about-
called the Bat Pod. So
yeah,
it's like, do I need you
No,
to
but,
call it?
like,
Like
I
everything
think
else
his-
is the Tumblr.
yeah.
His point is like in the movie, what's the point of revealing a legal name?
Well, to me, that's a fan service.
Yeah.
That's a fan service.
I think
saying
that's
like,
what
oh,
he's-
this is fucking gonna be Robin.
I
but
I
it's
think
not.
to
he
be
wishes it
fair,
wasn't just
would've
fan service.
and it would have felt, and I don't mind it. It's just how it came about.
Mhm.
It would have been. I would have liked it. It's such a small minutia change that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But even if he said, John Blake, nothing under here. Oh, search my full name and have him say the name, and then she'd be like, oh, there it is, and then
Oh,
she
I
could still say, you should use your real name. It's nice, and then he could still smile. But having her being Robin just felt for me was just like
I have
ugh.
a sensitive spot to it because I have to give my ID because my name's
I know you
fucked
do.
up.
I know, but I would have liked. It would have felt
So you could
better
stop
for him to
personally attacking me.
own it. I'm gonna personally attack you through this whole
There's a
movie.
lot,
This whole
guys.
movie.
Ollie, Caitlin, there's a lot of
Sexual
I know.
tension.
But
Most of
if
the
he would have
time
just said it,
between
or
them,
you could
yes.
have had her just say, "I'm not wearing hockey pads," and that would have fixed all of it. And you'd be
Of
like, "What
course,
are you,
of
are you Batman?"
course.
And Christian Bale takes
one
off
line.
a mask, and
Just
it's
need one
Tom
line.
Cruise.
it's Tom Cruise.
And then he takes off his shirt. He's like, I'm wearing hockey pads.
yeah.
It's like Katie Holmes, come back. It's all good.
So anyway,
Wow.
That's it. That's it there.
Oh.
That's a
Wow.
deep cut. That's a deep pull for our first episode.
Oh.
Okay, qualms for me, and I know
Just say it. Don't preface it. Just go.
I didn't believe that Bruce Wayne would give up being Batman for 8 years because Rachel died. And the reason I don't believe that is twofold. One, you already have a mechanic that you've established in your universe where you don't have to pull from that thread again. But it doesn't work as good for all the struggles and plot devices
Do you
that Bruce
think
Wayne is going through. And
the
it is
only reason he stopped is because of Rachel?
no. The reason that he
Escalation.
has ready for him is the fact that he's not needed anymore. Like he got the Dent Act passed and he's pretty much retired and he's good
Yeah.
to go. They didn't really play into that a whole lot. They really did focus a lot on Rachel's tragedy as the reason he put up his cape and cowl. At least that's what it came off
Mm.
through with his conversation at the back
with
computer.
Alfred,
Yeah.
too.
At the computer. 'Cause it's like you gave up your cape and your cowl, but then you didn't do anything with your life. And it's like, well, I mean, why? Like you overcame your struggles with Rachel's loss in the last movie. You were mourning her, and then you kind of not got over it, but you knew that you had to stand back up for the greater good, and you got the work done afterwards. And why did that change all of a sudden?
Can I discuss this with you?
Yes, I wanted to bring it
Say
up.
no.
I don't think he did. He didn't give up after Rachel died because
Mm-hmm.
he helped build the nuclear reactor.
That's a good
He
point.
helped build the nuclear reactor, and then he saw that Pavel's article came out, and that saying it could be weaponized. And then with the compounding of the Dent Act, the compounding of Rachel dying, the compounding that his fear that the world can be turned on its head because someone like Dent can be turned on its head.
Mhm.
Anything that can be good can be used for evil.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so he did stop being Batman.
Yeah.
But for 5 years, he had stopped being Bruce Wayne. And so he became a
Mm.
recluse. Because for 5 years, he was running Wayne Enterprises.
So like Batman failed, and then now Bruce Wayne failed, so he was left with nothing. That's kind of the
and
idea.
so that's why you see Lucius and Alfred being like, you see that pretty girl there? You know
This
what I'm saying?
takes place 8 years later, right?
This takes place 8 years later, but then
So for-
Miranda Tate says
We don't know.
specifically, like, for 3 years, you helped build this nuclear reactor.
Okay.
Then
Right.
all of
so
a
for
sudden,
3 years he was still doing Bruce Wayne shit, and then 5 he
5
just-
years
he
he
stopped.
was done.
He became a recluse.
he
So
locked
he-
that shit down.
Yeah, so I would have loved to gain a better understanding. The issue I had was why he stopped being Batman. That was specifically the part of his story that I was hung up on, if anything. That specifically is either because you're not needed anymore or because you're still mourning Rachel and you don't want to hurt anybody else and you're giving up on being Batman. Like the latter is what I picked up
I
from
think
the way it was presented.
The scene with Gordon is supposed to quell that because he said, like, he's holding Gordon's hand and he said, like,
we were, in
we
this
were
together.
together and then you left. And he's like, we won.
Yeah.
And then he's like, now this evil rises and we need Batman to come back. And then he just,
Yeah.
I don't know about that yet, man.
And then he meets Selena and he's like, I'm back.
And so he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, we
I'm
won. The
thinking I'm
Dent,
back.
Dent Act came out and now I have this guilt that, like, people think I killed everyone. And plus, like, without Batman, like, this is quote unquote peacetime. And that's why Gordon is like gonna on his way out because
Yeah.
he's a wartime commissioner,
Right.
not a peacetime.
That's
commissioner.
why I'm like, you have it set up perfectly. I wish in the character dialogue or something they
Two more
leaned
lines.
a bit more into it, as opposed to making it seem like Rachel died and he retired. Like that's what it came off of me like first reaction, like what a good portion of the movie until you find out why he stopped the nuclear reactor and all that stuff.
This film plays very much kind of like a mystery at first.
But
As
up
it goes
until
to the chest.
and it's all the way up until past you see him as Batman. It's not until after that fact that you learn more about it. Like that was the issue that I mainly had. But I mean that kind of another answer to your thing is to why it wasn't as well received.
Yeah.
So Dark Knight Rises, Batman is Batman from minute one, and he's dope.
Dark Knight.
And Dark Knight, he's Batman minute one, and he's dope.
it's Blade 2.
Yeah, right.
In this movie,
Same
I'm
writer.
pretty certain Batman. So imagine this: you're a moviegoer, general moviegoer.
I can imagine that.
You want to go to a movie, see Batman kick some ass.
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah, I'm in it.
Except it turns out for the 160 whatever minutes of this, the majority of it, Batman is injured. It's either in the beginning of the movie, when he's all old and wrinkled, or it's in the middle portion of the movie where his back is broken.
Iron Man 3.
So
I
it's
would say I would say not imagine you're a general audience viewer like who you are, but a
Right.
massive audience.
Right.
Right, yeah. Like a massive
I know what
audience
you
that's just there to see Batman kick ass, and they saw the most amazing Batman v Joker movie just now.
This is
Along
more
with
cerebral.
along with
Right.
rubber people, they want rubber emotions.
Yes.
Exactly. So
Ah,
that's kind of
Perhaps Ali is the message.
the gift could have saved that.
I would actually say, comment on that if you're like you said, like you have Dark Knight, then you have Dark Knight Rises, and so you have that in the name, so it has, like, brings that connotation.
Right.
I had a negative connotation with it. I was like, you shitting me? Yeah, Batman Begins, Dark Knight.
Well,
Then
no,
Dark Knight Rises.
I had a negative to it.
Well, the way that you kind of explained it was that like people were like, "Oh my god, this is like the next level."
People
of the
wanted
Dark
that,
Knight.
yeah.
But then to me, I was like, "This sounds lame."
Yeah, I agree.
That to
I'm
me
not
was
saying
like
that's the
the
right
name
course.
sounded name. So I mean, again, there's
Right.
other people that had that.
Right.
But again, I had to tell myself to stop being a little bitch, and then I was like, just watch the fucking movie.
I
Yeah.
say it to myself every day.
Yeah. I mean,
Stop being a little bitch.
You too?
Yeah. But I say it as if I'm Tom.
Remember the rumors
You
for the
say it
title?
like Bane?
I go, okay, Tom.
the Cape Crusader.
There was a Cape
Stop being a
Crusader.
little
There
bitch.
was Shadow of the Bat
Oh,
at one point, I think was a rumor.
that's weird.
Yeah.
I would have
But-
preferred Cape Crusader because if they were going to go with monikers of the name, but it's also kind of like the first one was just Batman Begins.
Yeah.
So was it Batman Ends, Dark Knight Ends,
But you can't though. You have
Cape
to
Crusader concludes.
you have to keep your audience hopeful and happy. You can't give them
I mean, the thing
concludes
of
or
that,
ends or-
like-
The Batman.
So,
although there is Endgame.
like
So.
the moniker that goes throughout this film is like rises and fire and all that stuff, and like Deshi Basura it means he rises.
Yeah.
It could have been called
Batman
Fishy
rises.
fishy muscle.
something Gotham.
Something Gotham.
Gotham Knight.
No, because that
Gotham
was already
Rises.
a thing. But put Gotham in there.
Gotham
Yeah.
Rises, something along
Yeah,
those
there you go.
lines.
But
Any other qualm?
Um,
No, I was not looking at you, Corey. I was looking at Ali.
just saying, I don't.
I have a personal qualm.
Is it that I didn't like the name thing?
No.
And I made fun of your line in
No,
the movie.
that hurt me a lot, and I'm going to take that with me forever. There's
To
gonna
the
be a lot of
grave.
scar
Tissue.
tissue.
Personal stuff.
I'm gonna have
Can you do-
No cartilage, in, my
cartilage
body.
in my body.
It's pretty bad
CTE
injury.
because you know.
It's getting so
Uh,
personal.
That's good.
It's
I wondered what would break first.
good guy Gordon is the last one to know. So sad about that.
What do you mean?
Good guy Gordon's the
Oh,
last
last
one
guy
to
to
know
know who
his
he
fucking
is?
identity.
Yeah.
Like you've been there. You was that. You was
Yeah.
in it. We
Even
was
his
in it.
face was like,
Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne?
I was like, fuck. But also,
like, super
bitch.
disappointed.
real quick,
Bitch.
the when Batman flew away and then
I
he
was
has
there first.
he has his like jacket on with his scarf. I'm like, that looks like fucking Jedi.
Put a jacket on your shoulders.
I'll be down with Jedi.
Who says it
Gordon.
deserve to have their faith rewarded?
Batman.
Batman to
Yeah.
about Lucius at the end.
No,
of
he's
it.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Gordon gets his faith rewarded. He gets
Yeah.
it.
Well, he doesn't care to know his name because
No,
you know
he
the
doesn't
only-
want to.
Well,
for most
he
of
knows
it.
who saved the day. The
Batman.
You want everybody else wants to know. Is what
Yeah.
his
And
point
then a
is.
tale of two cities at the very end. It's really this is not a qualm.
I
but
love that.
love it.
I do love that line between John Blake and him. He goes, "I can't do it. I mean, how can people go on not knowing who saved the day?" And he goes, "They do know, Batman." I was
Just like at the very beginning when he says like, shouldn't people know who he really was? Like, I do know who he was. He was the Batman.
Yeah.
Like,
Good guy, Gordon.
Ideology,
good guy, Gordon.
baby.
Yeah, is that it for qualms?
Yeah.
I think so.
think
Also-
Rating?
Rating?
Real
I'm-
quick, shout out Michael Caine
To the night.
crying.
Oh yeah, I failed you.
You trusted me.
I was
I
not
failed you.
expecting to
That is
get
my
all messed
forever
up.
I'm sorry gift.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. So
I'm gonna propose something here. Caitlin has gone last every episode, and she's about to this. Let's have you go first.
Oh shit.
We'll work our way backwards.
Breaking tradition, baby.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Just so we can get one where you don't go last.
And it's almost a little harder too, just because it's same day viewing. So there are more things I can tell my brain wants to digest on it.
Well, that's your fault. You should have watched it earlier.
Okay.
I mean,
And-
from a hard.
Yeah, that's
You did that
fine.
7 years.
Thanks, guys.
If you really wanted to watch it, you would have watched it.
You're fine.
That's true.
Really, you are.
But every time I start to think too much about like whatever qualm I might have had, which I think the only one I even brought up was that I couldn't really understand what Tom Hardy was saying sometimes.
But didn't you want to look at him?
Oh yes, I did.
But didn't you understand? Can't you
All right,
understand?
thanks for that.
Take control.
We're now loopy.
Oh boy.
boy. It's
very late.
Do you feel in charge?
Do you feel it, John?
There's no money here.
Then why are you here?
4.9.
4.9 for
Yeah.
the Caitlin.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every time I thought about the things that bothered me, I was
Higher
like,
than Batman Begins.
yeah.
Yeah?
No. Don't start by writing a 3 in front of my
Wow,
name.
way to fucking cut them
No,
off, Ollie.
Yeah, just because I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting him to be a human. I wasn't expecting Talia al Ghul to be, who she was.
What a twist.
I was expecting it to be a weird thing between Catwoman and Bane, and it was not, and that threw me for a loop. Just every
She
time
was the child.
every time I thought I had things figured out, it was like, no. Nice try though.
Just to add, did anyone wonder why they showed the cutaway of Talia al Ghul's back and Batman rubbing on it with
What
the
do you mean?
scar?
Oh,
Oh, the little
The little hook scar?
her back?
I figured
Yeah.
she was
Oh.
branded for something, but I didn't know why.
No.
No?
All it was to show that she came from not wealth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, I thought she was branded for something.
Because, unlike garbage blockbusters, they use cutaways for a reason. I'm like, why the fuck did you show me that?
Like Fincher.
Yeah, she was talking
Reasons.
about not
Yeah.
having wealth and whatever.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, what the fuck? Where's this coming from? So
Alright.
that was crazy. For
We'll
me.
go backwards.
So who's next, Corey? Since you decided to break the goddamn.
Y'all could have said no.
No, Corey. This is Corey's
it's,
podcast.
It's either Josh, Corey, or Tom.
Oh shit. Alphabetical. Go ahead, Corey, and then Josh, and then me.
4.9.
Ooh.
More than Batman Begins. Cinematically, visually I like this film a lot more than Batman Begins.
Mhm.
It's more pleasurable in the eyes. Tom Hardy's performance is phenomenal.
Yes.
I really enjoy Joseph Gordon-Levitt in this, kind of taking charge and being his own person. Throwing in the badge
charge.
at the end, Dark Knight Rising. Yeah, he's in charge.
This was the height of his popularity too.
Yeah.
He was fucking in
I think it's
everything.
just a really well-made film. It's one of those things that, and I know it, as far as this trilogy goes, it gets a lot of hate, but it's got a really special place in my heart. I love the ending. It ties up everything nicely. Like, there's nothing in the end where I was like, oh, I wish this had happened.
Yeah.
I don't know who started it, but on Instagram, someone started doing like the IMDb rating of every superhero movie,
Yeah,
and all the Nolan films are still in the top 10.
Wow.
And
I believe that.
I'm just like,
Makes sense.
it means something.
Yeah.
I just think it's really well done. The score is phenomenal. I'm gonna say it again. That fight scene is it might be my favorite fight scene in all of the Batman movies.
Breaky bat
Yeah.
fight.
But also
Okay.
when he's climbing down the fucking
Oh my
my
god.
God.
and
Yeah.
it's just lats
Oh,
for days.
And it's just he doesn't use his legs
That
at
was
all.
impressive.
Really. He's just kind of like.
I know.
like,
Was that actually Tom Hardy?
Of course it's
Yeah.
Tom Hardy.
He's fucking huge. When he turns around without that vest on in that first scene
I know.
underground, you're just like, and he's not like
Ripped.
He's not like
He's
toned.
not vascular.
He's not.
He looks
toned.
like he fights
He's
bears
just
on
like-
mountains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's that
Just
functional
bulked up.
strong.
I bench press grizzlies on
Yeah.
my days
Yes.
off.
Yes.
And then I eat them. Anyway,
Push up? Do you mean earth press?
Yeah.
Earth press.
So, yeah, shout out to the night.
Oh my god.
Rises. Shout out to the night rises.
All right, who's next? Who's next?
4.9.
Oh,
4.9. Oh.
okay.
4.9.
And then for me, it's 4.8. It's a 4.8.
4.8. There it is.
4.8.
The least
Also-
out of all.
Ollie.
I'm also a 4.8.
Ollie.
Oh.
Oh, we got two. two grumps, and they weren't me.
I was right.
Were you
Who,
really?
me?
I was right. Yeah.
Yeah?
No one guessed Ali.
No, I guess not.
I compare you to a kiss from a rose
You got
on
me
a grave.
again.
Stop.
Ooh, the more
Please
I
stop.
get of you, the
I just-
stranger
I
it
wanna-
feels.
You have
Stop.
a note, and then I want to go.
Quick thing that I noticed just this watching of it. One, he dances with Selena Kyle to get a bunch of information, just like he does in Batman Returns. And then the Joker almost falls off a building to his death, except in this movie he
He
catches
does.
him,
He does.
unlike
Batman.
Batman.
Returns. Or Batman. Yeah.
Well, also Batman and Batman Burton
And I-
kills a lot of people.
Oh, and I noticed
Yeah.
that Christian Bale wears a batsuit just like in Batman.
Oh my god.
Crazy.
Josh is just like glazed over, like
I'm so tired.
I don't know if you might die today or not.
Wow.
Stop.
I wanted to add a little something, and I waited for the last one to bring it up, partially because I forgot to in the last episode.
Oh.
But I was kind of surprised when we were watching Dark Knight.
Rises.
Nope, just Dark Knight.
It's not this episode.
Because when they brought out the detonator, that was how I met you guys. And
Oh, yeah.
that's
Oh,
how
yeah.
I became part of Nerd On. So I actually got a little emotional being like,
We talked about, we're
"Aw."
like, we want a detonator that looks like the one from Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
And she said that while
For
we're watching. She's like,
PAs.
that looks familiar. I was like, I know, right? Uh-huh.
Yeah, and like being I for anybody who's brand new to the show, I met Corey and Tom because they're filmmakers together.
I'm a filmmaker with Tom.
Yeah, and Tom's a filmmaker with Corey, and they make a series called PAs, and they had episode 10, and
Season
they had
finale.
someone who was going to play a part, and then it didn't work out, and then they brought me in, and I was like a demolition person, so they handed me this thing, and I was like, oh, this is a little familiar, and he's like, yeah, well, I bet it does, and then once I got to seeing it in the movie, I was like, oh my god,
There it is.
there
It's
it
been
is.
so long.
It's
You're
full
wrong,
circle.
Caitlin. Corey is a filmmaker with me.
Oh,
Yes.
you're right.
I am a comic book resource with Corey.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Josh
Messed
is
that
a
up.
streamer with me. You are a
I
weeboo
do
with me.
nothing.
And
That's
Ollie is
fair.
Batman.
Ollie is a sex toy with me.
Oh, that makes sense.
Um,
It's come full
Hashtag
circle, guys.
the sex toy thing. Hashtag can confirm.
Oh.
Anyway, thank you for
that's
listening to
evidence.
that chaos.
The Bat Chaos.
The
2
bat,
years.
The bat chaos.
years,
2
baby.
2
years.
years.
That is
Swear to me.
part 3 of our 3-part 2-year anniversary. I'm very ticklish. Don't do that.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight trilogy. We have done it.
It happened.
We have done it.
Thank you, everyone that stuck around, that watched it on the YouTube, that listened on anything that catch the podcast for all 3 of
Really,
these
yeah.
crazy episodes.
Also, thank you for being with us on this ride that is Nerd On.
It's
This-
been
this-
insane.
We're 2 years in, over 100 episodes, about to hit a huge download milestone that we're keeping very close to the chest. But
Ah.
if you go to our social media, I'm sure you will hear about it.
Very
Thank you
soon.
guys.
If you are new to Nerd On, thanks for joining us. We really love to hear new voices, see new faces, see new comments from people that we don't always hear or see or read. So reach out. Our social media is listed on our website, nerdon.tv.
Just reaching out.
Check out some of our older episodes.
Yeah, our older episodes.
Check out. Tell us what you think.
Yeah. Just reach out. We love to hear from you guys.
and we love you.
Yes.
What a beautiful
Um,
voice.
Check out the
Aw.
Lord,
What
check out the
voice.
Lord of the Rings trilogy.
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 It's a we're crossing 15 hours of this day. by the way.
Yes.
So it's the
The Lord of the Rings trilogy was
Lord of the
a
Rings last year. Search it nerdon.tv. Just search Lord of the Rings and listen, and you'll enjoy it. Or go to Apple Podcasts, search Lord of the Rings for
I'm
us.
feeling
We-
complete.
We love you.
We're
Thank you for
complete.
listening. You know the drill.
I'm complete.
As always.
Nerd on.
Uh,